What's happening, everybody? We are finally back. Hope everybody's cool. Uh, this is the Good Samaritan Show. We are a little late today because I was asleep, but but we glad to be here tonight. We have two of our members here. I don't know the other people out. They'll be on the way shortly. Just saying, what's up? What's up, y'all? Y'all all right? All right.
What's good, man?
Hey, hey.
Good. We just trying to make it work right now. Lot going on in the world. A lot going on immediately within our backyard. So we just hoping that everybody is doing all right, and hope everybody's got what they need from the day and all that good stuff. Um, Lot of news today. Lot of news. Lot of news. I'm gonna start off first of all saying thanking everybody for joining in. Some of y'all on here right now. Um, from different areas, and we're just making sure that we are where we are and we're doing what we're supposed to be doing here. Tracy Avery, y'all all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm chilling, bro.
All good, all good.
Everything is everything.
Yep, that believe me, that it is.
And if it
That
ain't,
it is.
it's gonna be.
Ain't nothing you could do about it. Nothing at all. Just gotta kind of roll with the punches at this point. I came on here today. We got, like I said, some other members that are coming in, but I came on here today, and yesterday was the debate, and I wanted to watch it. Um, got caught up with some other stuff, so I didn't see a lot of it until today. I tried to watch a little bit of it to try to get caught up, and all I'm gonna say is if Kamala Harris is not known for anything else, her restraint is phenomenal.
Let me tell you something, bro. Because I thought she was
She
gonna
was,
cuss my man out.
woo, she
Yeah,
was close. She was
her
real close.
her restraint is phenomenal. I think one of the biggest things about um, what I saw was that she was under the gun quite a bit because number one, he was pushing her. I saw that.
He was.
I saw that he was just trying to egg her on, and
He
just
was.
just from that standpoint, it still, being as chronologically mature as I am, still noticing that there are still people out here who are very quick to try to press your buttons. It is always within your best interest to stay the course and relax and um just kind of just be there, just
Did you,
relax.
did you notice that every time he acknowledged her, he always said her
Yes,
with
he did.
emphasis?
Yeah,
Bro,
yeah,
that
Yes, he
yeah,
did.
yeah,
Yes, he
mm-mm,
did. And
that's like
he tried his best to get her out
try.
of character. So I mean, he was
yeah,
really pushing. I mean,
yeah,
really pushing. I
yeah,
was like, "Jeez, what in the world is this?"
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's sad about it is that, you know, just being up to his tactics. I'm looking at him and he was disregarding her even as a person who
Mm-hmm.
was a threat. He just Donald Trump is just letting me know that he just don't care about nobody but himself.
He don't.
And that's exactly what
um,
she said too.
yeah, he doesn't care about anybody but himself or anything. He's very he's very calculated in his approach towards her ethnicity. He's intentional about disrespecting her there. I even went over
Hmm.
some of the previous meetings they had and, basically challenging her to a cognitive test, and just so we talked about that on the live
Hmm.
a while ago. And I just, I think audacity is on sale these days because I mean, people got a lot of it,
You're
they're
right.
just running around just doing whatever and saying whatever. And I think that's the sad part. It's like, again, not even respecting the fact that this is a female up here, and
Bruh,
she's whooping you day in day out. Ain't
when
been
I
a meeting
tell
that y'all
you,
had that
when
she
I
didn't.
tell you, bro, And I got rebuked last night by a preacher man in my inbox, bro. Because my thing is, I'm not saying who I'm going for and who I'm not going for, but when I watch it and I'm posting, I'm doing it for like get people laughs and try to
Yeah.
take the serious out of it. So one of my posts was like, "Yo, Don, you can't argue with a black woman. You'll never win. Just ask a black man." So that was one of my posts, and so this preacher man, white preacher man, gets in there talking about, I'm going to hell. I don't deserve to honor Jesus because I'm obviously that I'm voting for the devil herself and all of this other stuff. And then he blocked me, bro.
Have a good night.
Right. It is
We're not
not
we
that serious.
He
yeah,
said,
we're not
I am not
entertaining that.
worthy to be an ambassador for Jesus. That's what he told me.
Mm.
And see, what people don't understand is when you do stuff like that and you take it upon yourself to basically judge somebody from that
Right.
magnitude, then the bottom line is it just lets me know where you are. People often treat you from where they are,
Yep.
and he can't be happy with himself because us happy folk don't seek to call you and block you and
Right.
No.
He
do
didn't
all
even
that
give me a
stuff.
chance to respond, bro.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he wasn't worthy of a response. That's the other thing.
That's true.
Because at the end of the day, and I already said, and I would have laughed at it.
I did.
You
That
know,
too much funny to me.
Yeah.
Myron, thank you, man. Yeah, it's to me what it seems like is there are a lot of people who are just diluted in their thoughts, and they're just not paying attention to a lot of the illogical thinking that's going on around here.
Mhm.
And but I gotta admit, man, there's some people who literally really feel like they are right for dealing with somebody like Donald Trump or whatever. This is no different race. It's just the fact that number one, there's two things to this. Number one, she's black. I'd say Kamala Harris is black. Number two, Kamala Harris. I don't hear nothing Caucasian about that. Number two,
She's a woman.
um, she's a female. And
Mhm.
so because of that, historically we already have, like it really doesn't work in her favor as
Right.
far as the voting process and understanding, the difference between, Congress and, different seats and cabinets and stuff. It doesn't work in her favor. But the other thing is that it's working for her when it comes to people looking at exactly what's been going on for all this time. And I'll say this without, any kind of reservation. Let's be clear. Men have screwed this nation up for a long time.
For real, for real.
If you want to be conscious and careful, and men have had the reins over this nation for a long time, and look how many people have died due to the fact that two men can't sit down at a table and hash out their differences.
That's true.
The different forms of government, and then you turn around and you're looking at the forms of the military, hundreds or thousands of innocent people who had nothing to do with what you're talking about, but you want to send them over there in the name of the country, so to speak,
Yep.
and decide that you're going to have, we're going to start a war. No,
Well,
y'all two go in the room, lock the door, y'all beat the hell out of each other. And then when
right.
y'all come out,
And
let
we
me
go,
know what y'all come up with.
right.
Like they say back in the day, put up your dukes.
Yeah. And so, with that being said, you got a whole black woman up here with long hair. That's hers.
That's
Did I
true.
just say that?
But it's true.
You got a black woman here with
From the
hair that's
root.
hers, that's running around and basically saying, we here, and we're gonna take it on. And she doesn't have much of a fight because she's dealing with a knucklehead. I would put out a disclaimer and say, the thoughts and opinions of blah 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 are not particularly what all of us. But no, I do feel that he's an idiot.
Yeah.
And we're just not gonna sugarcoat it. And it's funny, somebody like that, they don't sugarcoat their stupidity. So why should we
At all.
sugarcoat our
Right.
intelligence?
Right.
And
Every
I just
time he
think,
opened his mouth.
Yes. Every
yeah,
time.
he does the country a favor every time. Every time. just in case y'all forgot why we shouldn't vote for this fool. Go ahead and let them talk. All right. Now you understand? Cool. We're good now.
You're
You know,
right.
so I just think with Kamala Harris being the she was so distinguished, and she was so just very much like I feel like she just practiced poise and
Ooh,
using a lot of her influence to basically sometimes the best way to make a fool look like a fool is to just let them act like one. You
she had
know,
to started fasting last year for this.
I mean, at some point, because I saw her, I saw it for myself. I saw
She
when she was getting ready to
ready.
talk, she was like this president, but the way her mouth was, and she said what her
I was like,
favorite
I
curse
thought
words
she
were.
said the F word,
She
right?
said, "Yeah, it was right there. She was on her way. It was coming.
She was
Um,
ready.
she was
But
ready,
at the
and
same time, she's crafty too because she knew what buttons to press to make him
She
mad.
did. She did.
well, that's
And
one
that's
thing
why I
about a
say
fight.
she is a black woman because she know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when you get ready to go on a fight, boxers watch,
That's
they
right.
watch their opponent. They look and see what their counters are. They pay attention to their attack, their approaches, their stances, their blocking techniques. They pay attention to all of that. That's what
Mhm.
kind of puts them in the running to kind of win the fight because they're watching their opponent. Well, she's been watching this man for years.
Yes, she has.
Yeah.
She was watching when we was all asleep. She was up watching tapes, just looking at him like he's a different situation. But I think one of the biggest things now is that we just pay attention to, especially with this election, is that we pay attention to how Congress deals with her.
Yeah.
Because Congress, they deal with who they want to deal with.
That's the truth.
And then if they don't want to deal with you, they'll put your face on everything. Then, but you ain't made no decisions because they over here vetoing and
Yeah.
turning around and just deciding. We looked at that. It's not something we want to look at. So, what do y'all feel is gonna be Kamala's greatest challenge as president, if in fact she does win? What do y'all feel like the biggest challenges are? Like, what is she looking at? What's happening with her? Like, what do y'all feel she's gonna face when she gets in there?
I guess it depends on who wins the house.
Right.
And if the Democrats win, not saying it's gonna be easy, but it'll be more workable because of who she is. But if them Republicans win the House, you might as well forget it, bro. They're gonna give her a hard time like they did Obama.
Yeah. Well, what they did with Obama was they gave him such a hard time. He served 2 terms. So at this point, I really,
Good point.
as hard as it was, it couldn't have been that bad because they put his tail right back in there for a second term. So I always wanted to know what exactly they were thinking about that. Now he said he wasn't coming on tonight, but he done showed up.
Well, hello, Pastor and Prophet. There you go.
Praise the Lord.
You starting off early today, ain't you? I don't put that hand up now. You're already letting the world know you exist. Yeah.
Everyone needs a little drag queen on tonight.
Oh,
Praise him, whores.
It's so early.
Wait, did you say praise the Lord?
Tracy. Tracy.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I had a hard day today, so this I knew I did the right thing coming on here today. I didn't think you were coming, but I knew I did the right thing.
Lord.
Oh
Um, but anyway, yeah, I think and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let Justin speak on this, but Justin, I was asking what exactly do you think Kamala Harris says to face now if she wins? What do you think as a president, a newly appointed president, what do you think she has to face when she gets in office?
Um, I think I think the last couple of elections I saw something I haven't seen in a long time. I mean, I'll even go back to when Obama first won. I saw hatred for the president that people didn't really want to get in there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
when I was younger, it was just like, okay, who won? Who won? That's our president. We moved on. There was a hatred that carried on even after the election into the terms
Yeah.
that I think is very dangerous and brings a major divide. So I think that is a culture that is going to remain just because I think people like to stick to their guns. So I think she's going to deal with the same divide that she's dealing with now. I mean, there'll be some people who say, "All right, well, the election's over. This is what it is," but then they'll say things like, "Oh, she'll never be our president," or it won't be, she won't be my president, stuff, things like that, which is going to bring that divide. So I think she's going to deal with the hatred of the fact that she won, uh, no matter what, from the people who are diehard, you know, Trump supporters. Um, do I think she's going to do a good job? Either way, I think she will do a good job. I actually think she did a really good job holding her own last night. I think she did very
Yeah.
well not getting
Yeah.
sucked into his games. I also think she did a good job playing his game at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't get caught up in his game and played his game at the same time. She was really,
True.
I was, she handles herself pretty well. I
Yeah.
think not just her. I think both of them could have answered some of the questions a little more directly.
Yeah.
But I think she held her own, and I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
they thought she was going to be a bleep, a bleep, a bleep. I think she proved most people wrong, and I think they actually, I think she did good last night. So, I know where my vote's going towards. I don't have to discuss that, but at the end of the day,
Right. Right.
we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I think she was playing chess. He was playing Uno.
You said
Um,
Uno.
Oh,
yeah.
He
She
playing
was.
checkers.
She.
Ping me,
um,
ping me.
Yeah. He was playing chess like she was playing some serious, and he was playing
He
like
was
Uno,
playing
like draw
phase check.
four. Yeah. He playing Go Fish. he, he
go
was on
fish.
some other stuff. He was doing some
Um,
stuff. Go ahead, Tracy. Go ahead.
I think her greatest challenge because um in this office she will be surrounded by men, and she's telling men what to do.
Hmm.
And from a woman's perspective, I think that is going to be her greatest challenge because even though she says, do this, do that, they're still going to second guess it, even though they know it's right, and they just may absolutely look over her to a certain point or a certain degree, because let's be honest, a president is just a representative of
Bum of the people.
whatever the situation may be. It's just a representative. It's just a face for the office. And so I think that's going to be her greatest challenge is the men that she's surrounded by, and even some
Yeah.
of the women that
Yeah.
she's surrounded by, because they're going to resent her for the position that she's in.
That's
Right.
deep. That's real
Yeah,
deep. I didn't even think about it like that because it's true.
yeah. So I
Like most
really
of them
think,
are pompous men
mm-hmm,
that think they
mm-hmm,
know everything, and
yeah,
they're not gonna want to take any roles or anything from a female. You're absolutely right. That's good.
yes, on a very, very weak level, weak as water, I deal with it every time I play.
That's good. I like that.
So
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
yes, bless her heart. That's all I can say is bless her heart.
She,
But
as I said,
she
go ahead. Go ahead.
she's going to stand her own, and she's going to be able to stand her ground. The things that she could not say on camera, she will say in private in those
Hmm.
meetings. So she'll
She's
be
she's
just fine.
she loaded that gun last night. She was
Yo,
like,
when she
keep
put that
talking.
finger up and was
Hmm.
like, "Oh, let me take my breath back because I'm about to cuss him out," I say,
Yeah.
"Yeah, that was smart."
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with we have to get to a point where we understand that again, men have country up several times, and I'm not saying this is not about a gender at this point. This is a mindset. That there are a lot of people who can honestly look at this situation and realize that a lot of what is going on right now comes from the male dominated aspect of the situation. This is something that a lot of people are um looking for. People came looking for a fight last night. They
Yes,
did. They
yeah.
they came looking for a fight. They came looking for her to. There's some who wanted her to mess up. There was some who wanted her to fall and fail and cuss and put her middle finger up. They wanted her to do that,
It
but
was almost like you
you
could
know.
feel it in the air.
Well, it was compelled. In other words, Donald Trump has a very unique way of making somebody want to slap the crap out of him because
Hmm.
just the way he talks and the way he demonstrates. But
But you
she held her
notice he
ground.
never looked her in her face,
Right.
bro.
No,
Well,
He's afraid.
why would he look her in the face? Why look somebody that first of all, you've been insulting her since you could. That's the first thing. The second thing is she wasn't scared to show up. She wasn't scared to stand there toe to toe with you. She wasn't afraid to look at you and I've never said this before. I'm gonna say it now. To be a black woman looking in the face of a Caucasian man that normally the majority of the time the country is going to gear towards his favor anyway.
Mhm.
And
that's a
for you
tough
to
seat.
stand there and not just let him have it, but you didn't buckle, you didn't bat your eyes, you didn't do none of that. You stood toe to toe with this dude.
Yes, she did.
And, I don't care what happens now. I just feel like just for that alone, she's worthy of, being able to stand her ground and be given a chance, because it, she had there were a lot of people there who just wanted her to fail because that's the demographic that they want to always be. I go now to this situation. Thank God that Kamala Harris is not like Tiffany Henyard. You know, thank you,
We,
Jesus. Thank
we
you,
thank
Lord.
God.
That
Who
was,
you
Thank you.
you
talking
know,
to? Who you
I,
talking to? You got the
yeah,
wrong boy.
bruh,
Mr.
let me tell
Orange
you something.
Man.
Right? You know, I'm still supposed to get certain taxes. Pay me what you owe me. Pay me what you
right.
owe me. Like it should have.
Put some respect.
Uh, I think that she's not like that. She's not. She got hood in her, but she don't let hood run her.
Nah, I don't think she
Um,
got hood, bro. She have Jamaican. Them
well,
people.
they got the tenement yards. They know. They know. They ain't stupid. I think one of the biggest things now is that we have to really pay attention to the fact that the majority of, again, she's facing, such a level of this man-made notion, that only men have the answers. I'm here to say, no, we don't. That only men have the right direction. No, we don't. That only men can do the job. No, we can't. Uh,
As you can see
because
from all the way from George Washington, we ain't been doing a good job.
no, I mean, when I look at, a lot of those presidents and, I just have to say that we are particularly trying to aid and abet a very nasty, toxic mindset.
Yes.
And the truth, go ahead, Tracy.
Sorry about that. I think if we're
No.
honest, Reagan's wife ran the White House. I don't think Reagan did because there was
Oh,
a certain
yeah.
that
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
bless his heart. I don't mean no harm, cuckoo, but he
Yeah,
was.
Well, you
I was
gotta
a kid
remember
when those.
too, he wasn't
Oh,
he wasn't in the politics. He was an actor.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
almost like they shoved him into
Yeah,
the White House. They didn't
yeah.
have nobody else at that
They was
time.
like, here, do this.
right.
Right. I was a kid when that was going on, and I noticed that, in those particular areas, I saw Nancy as more political than Ronald.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
I,
true.
I really did. I saw her just like with Prince Charles and Princess Diana. I feel like Princess Diana was more on the field and trying to see to it that people were treated fairly more than Charles was, because she went in the field, like, when the mine, yards and all of that she was going into because they were setting these mines up or whatever. That woman wasn't just talking about it. They have video going down there. Like, no, it's right there. Look, that's what I'm talking about. And it was very moving. So a lot of women have, a lot of guts that some men don't have. Especially in politics. And I just feel it's unfair sometimes. Again, let me say this again.
Uh-oh.
I only speak because I know there are women who have good minds and good hearts and good, aspirations towards a thing. Tiffany Henyard ain't one of them people. Not by any means. I'm gonna let Brent talk about her. Hopefully, he know who he's talking about. And when he does talk about her, I hope that. Well, I would say I hope, but she may not be. Because where she is, they don't have a TV for her yet. I don't know. But AJ said Tiffany and Trump might live in the same prison one day.
One day.
I mean. But I gotta say this again: Donald Trump walking around here with all these felonies, and he's still walking around going to 7-Eleven. I'm telling y'all, I just don't understand how this man can 300 and some odd counts of treason.
This
man
country is corrupt, bro. Because I
This
guarantee
country
you,
is white.
if it was Obama, bro, he would have no parts of that White House.
They would have let him have it. They're right. You just see all them people running across that grass. You let me take my finger and put it over an inch over the fence, and I ain't gonna have no finger by the time I draw my hand back. They're gonna be cut my finger off. But these white folk out here running across the grass and putting their foot up on tables and folding their arms like they're in a beach resort somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But Brent, what you think, man? What you think about Tiffany Henyard? What you think? What you think? Have you seen her act out before? Yeah, Tracy wants you to go for it.
Right.
Tracy wants you to go for it. All right.
Withdraw.
So, okay, so this is a loaded situation for me, right? Because I think what we are seeing is that America would rather be ran by an illiterate, ignorant, stupid, sexist, racist, misogynistic, narcissistic, bipolar, uh, old ass white man
Keep going.
than a well spoken, intelligent, highly degreed, highly educated black woman. And even if she's only a quarter or a half black,
She black. She black.
she's African American. And so America is willing to risk it all to have a Caucasian man who should actually be on the death chair than to have a black woman who, no matter what her past is, it does not hold a candle to Donald Trump, right? And this Tiffany person, next. I'm just so sick of the narrative of victimized, angry women.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like Sunshine Anderson said it before, heard it all before. Like, let's move on. Like, because you a coon too. So it's like, yeah, next.
It's like a reality TV show in politics.
At this point, it's kind of like, oh God, this tequila is riding me like a horse. It's almost like who dick is bigger. You see what I'm
Oh
saying?
no.
Like I looked at that debate last night and I was absolutely disgusted because it just shows that and it really put to play why other countries take America for a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Because you literally America really is home of the free. You can be a idiot as long as you white. You can get in any position that you want.
That part.
Right.
And so this is why when I see and my partner had to tell me this, when we see homeless white people, we don't give them no money. I don't feel bad for you because at the end of the day, with your stank ass, your dirty ass, your filthy ass, straight off the street, you can go in a job and they will offer you a job just because you white.
It's the
But
truth.
if you are the same person, just African American, or even I'll go here because my partners have Mexican. If you even Mexican or a minority or whatever like that, they will turn you down. And here's the thing: most black homeless people are educated people. They
That's
Yeah,
weren't
true.
always
that's a
poor.
fact.
They
No,
weren't always broke. But
no.
most of these Caucasian bums, they grew up in trailer parks. They grew up with drug addicts as parents. Hell, their mom and daddy are sisters and brothers. You see what I'm saying? Or cousins. They grew up in all that kind of stuff. But as long as you have the right pigment tech color, you can rule it all.
But
Yeah.
You ain't
that's
gotta have
why
no. What education does Donald Trump have? I really want
yeah,
to talk about this.
he
The
don't.
man, you ask him a question and he talks about everything else but your question.
True.
He will never answer your question. And my thing is, you are a horrible uh businessman. You have filed bankruptcy, I don't know how many times. You have horrible business deals. You are one of the main reasons why COVID hit us like a ton of bricks.
Yep.
Um, and for the other coons out there, the Caucasian, the black people that is voting for him, the only reason y'all niggas are voting for him is because he gave y'all money a
Yeah.
couple
Yeah,
years
but
ago,
based off of
and
what I
that's the
was
whole thing.
told, it was the Democrats that signed off on it and just allowed
Right.
It
him to
was the
do it.
Democrats, but it was his idea.
Okay.
Oh.
So my thing is, yeah, he knew what to do to get to reel in niggas, and the thing that you could do to reel in niggas is you show them some money, show
You're
them
Hmm.
right.
some money, and promise them. See, the thing about it is, we were promised 40 acres and a mule. 40 acres and one mule.
We still waiting on that.
In
Right.
history, in history, it has been proven scientifically that a mule is the most non-productive animal in the animal kingdom.
Mhm.
Wow.
So you all are willing to give us 40 whole acres
And a
and not even
jackass.
a cow or a horse?
And
Mules,
And an
mules
ass.
can't even
non-productive.
mules can't even reproduce.
Hmm.
Mm.
It takes a horse and what is it? A horse and a something that they crossbreed. I forget what the mix is, but it's a
Hmm.
horse and I
Horse
think it's a
and
donkey or something like that.
I
And
think
that's how you
you're
come
right.
up with a, yeah,
Yeah.
a horse and a
Yeah.
donkey.
Yeah.
But you a mule is impotent. They cannot produce children. So
that's deep.
from the start, African Americans, we were already promised degradation. We were all already promised improductivity, unproductivity. I don't know if I'm making up words or not. I don't know. Y'all just go
It's
with it.
okay. It's okay.
But
We know what you mean, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah.
but the thing is, okay,
And
so
they know too.
you willing to give us a mule. I mean, you're willing to give us 40 acres, but at the end of the day, because the animal that you're willing to give us that we waiting on is so unproductive and so slow, and we now have to get other coloreds to help us till the ground, to fertilize the ground, to take care of the ground. So when people say, "Oh, I'm just waiting on 40 acres and a mule," do you really know what you're saying? Do you
You
really
waiting.
know?
You
You're
waiting
gonna
on.
be waiting. You're gonna be
Right.
waiting.
You're
You're gonna be
Waiting
waiting.
for
waiting.
something.
Yep. You're
Right.
gonna be waiting. Wait
And
on it,
so
fool. Wait on it,
my thing,
idiot. Right.
my thing is, at this point, yeah, both candidates have their flaws because they're human.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Kamala might have done a lot of things in her day. Okay, cool. But as far as the country goes, I feel like we will be in a much better position with her in office than this dumbass white man who is literally, if he gets in office, I'm moving to Canada
Yeah.
because there's going to be World War III on America. Period. Point
True.
blank. They are coming for us with these missiles. They're coming for us with these nuclear bombs because these other countries hate Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they are
Absolutely.
waiting until November
They're waiting.
before they
Absolutely.
Yep.
push that button.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
So
think
we could
that
think it's a game, we could think it's a joke, we could think it's
It's
whatever
not.
the case may be, but it's not. And all of our lives, even minorities,
right,
LGBTQIA plus,
right,
heterosexuals, our children, women,
right.
uh, everybody is at stake. And here's the thing, white people, you may think you safe too, but you're
Mm-mm.
not.
You might
No,
want to read up on that Project 2025 because nobody
Yeah,
is safe.
nobody is safe.
yeah,
Nobody.
yeah.
He is a, first of all, I think he suffers from autism, number one. And, it's like
You said
He's
you
the
autism?
cannot,
dumbest one.
I think he's autistic. I think Donald Trump is autistic because
Really?
everything he has to be on the spectrum. He
I
has to
think
be.
I
he's
agree.
I think he's more of a more bipolar and schizo because I mean even with autistic people they're brilliant in their own way. This dude
That's
has
true.
no
He's
brain.
not brilliant in any way.
Right. So he might be a little he might be a little bipolar or schizo.
But even those that's a classified as being on the spectrum.
True.
So he
But you
definitely
know
Yeah,
what? What I do know is that if he gets in office, okay, I'm gonna take a turn. Y'all go with me.
Take your time.
If he gets in office, it is a clear sign of a saying that we've been saying for a long time. What God has for you, it is for you. And ain't
right.
no devil in hell gonna be able to take that away from you. Um, Now I have to play devil's advocate. I think it is time for America to be shook up a little bit
Hmm.
because we take a
Hmm.
lot of things for granted.
True.
We are spoiled. We are privileged. We are
Absolutely,
selfish. We are self
absolutely,
centered. We
absolutely.
are very much so
We're
the rich
bullies.
kid that has been born with a silver spoon in their mouth.
Right.
Yep.
We're very much bullies.
we're Donald Trump.
Yeah.
We are Donald Trump.
That's
We
why we don't
bully
like him because
everybody.
he's a mirror.
Right.
Right.
But I pray for the day. Thank you, Jesus.
Ah, glory.
I pray for the day that a real nigga put a bullet in his ass.
Ooh,
Because that's what really we
I
can't
know
get
you was going there, bro.
no. The
We
Bible says
there.
it is appointed unto a man once to die. He got to die. We got to do Pharaoh got to die.
Oh, that's a good analogy. That's good. That's
Well,
good.
Pharaoh
here's
got to die.
here's the reality, man. And Brent, I'm so glad you came on earlier. You
I
started
only
us
did it
off
for you because you was
phenomenal. Thank
depressed
you so
earlier. So
much.
you know, I
Grace
ate an
the show with
edible,
his
had some
presence.
liquor, and I jumped on. Put a bra on, and here I am.
Oh,
Stupid.
shoot. He said he
Yo.
put a bra on it.
You got to hoist up these breasts.
I can't, man.
Oh God, that's hilarious.
I know a lot of what goes on comes from this narrative, and Donald Trump wants to produce this. Shut up. Donald Trump wants to produce this narrative that says I'm always right. I'm never wrong. He's a true dictator traits. Like this is all dictator, 101 type status.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the biggest elements now that we face when it comes to Donald Trump is that's the way he wants it. Donald Trump is a millionaire by trade. His father was a millionaire and he became one. And a lot of his money wasn't because he worked for it; it was because it was given to him.
Give it to him.
And then turning money into money that you didn't earn but you were given doesn't always come across as the same way as a person who actually worked for it and earned it. And people who earned money like that have a different type of, they're not as loose. Somebody who's earned $1 is very, very tight about who gets it. Very tight about keeping it and understanding that this is something that you're doing. Um, and you don't have the right to act a certain way when you received it a certain way. Whereas people who've been given money, they weren't taught how to nurture it, how to deal with it, how to hold on to it, how to protect it, how to
But
cover it.
Kevin, I'm sorry, but this man has said out of his mouth that he grabs women by their vaginas.
He did say that.
He did
I,
say
for,
that.
I
Now,
forgot.
contrary to belief, I've grabbed a few vaginas in my day. However,
Oh,
uh,
oh.
that ain't never been something that I want to hear from my president. Right. Surprise,
Absolutely.
surprise. Yes, me. Uh like why I'm telling you that I'm like an onion. There are many layers to me.
Go
Okay.
ahead, brother.
I don't understand
And I enjoy them
why.
all.
Listen, just the way, because of course we know that there are more women than there are men in the world.
Absolutely.
So for me, just the way that he has talked about women,
Yeah.
why on earth would any woman in America want to vote for this man? Like, help me.
Well, you gotta
Tracy,
also
you a
understand
woman.
too. A lot of those women are in male dominant marriages. So those men are like, look, we are voting for Donald Trump. That's
Uh,
that old school mentality.
Yeah, I
That's
have a
yeah.
problem with that.
yeah.
I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Because Tracy got a husband, but I'm sure she got a voice in her marriage. You know
I
what I'm saying?
am
When he started acting
kidding.
up,
I'm just kidding. I'm just
and,
kidding.
and Tracy's a black woman. Every black woman got that look. When we as men do too much,
Yeah.
every black woman got that look like, all right now, all right, nigga, you might want to get out my face.
I I have a story about that.
Uh-oh. Speak
Oh,
Um,
on, Tracy. Go ahead.
so this is a very long time ago. I mean, we're talking probably 20 years ago. We've been married for 21 years, so maybe 20 years ago. Anyway, we were both playing somewhere at the same time, and something happened. I'm not sure what it was at the moment, but my husband started to get like, because he's a bodybuilder, so he started to get like, towards me. I said, listen, a little ground glass goes a long ways. Keep this up. I dare you to eat.
uh-oh.
I mean, it's
Oh.
See what I'm saying?
Oh.
what?
Which
See
It's
is
what
been
I'm
proving your
saying?
point, Brent. It's proving your point.
Prove me a point. So, with that point, I think it is time for black women to really take this country and show America who they really are. They are thinkers, they are planners, they are organizers. They ain't gonna take nobody's BS. Um, and they, at the end of the day, they are black mamas. No matter how many white penises Kamala has had, she's a black mother. And so at the end of the day, there's just a certain respect that black women command in unspoken. You see what I'm saying? I'm telling y'all, this tequila is riding me like a stallion. But anyway, uh, it's I think that if when Kamala gets in office, I think the property value of America will skyrocket
Just because she's a black woman,
just because she's a black woman.
I feel you on that, bro. I feel you on that.
And them other countries are going to press stop and they're going to approach her a different way. Period. Because even in all the debates and every time she addresses Donald Trump only goes but so far.
That's true.
He only goes but so far. And
He know
When
better.
Kamala
He sure
tucks
do.
that hair back and move her neck, she about to dig in your back. And you gonna sit down and you gonna shut up. and you're gonna listen to what she got to say. That move right here is like, all right, I done had enough.
He couldn't.
Let me get you together.
He couldn't handle Omarosa.
He okay, and where's she at?
You don't hear
Right,
nothing about her no more.
right, because she finally got off her knees from his scrotum, and now
Oh.
she see that's what it was. They were screwing, they was having sex. That's
Oh
why he
my
let her
God.
have so much mouth. That's why he let her have so much mouth. The moment he stopped being her sugar daddy, and she said that she was gonna write a book,
She went missing.
she disappeared.
Yep. She went missing, boy.
Mm.
That same week, and all of this you can Google. Where's Omarosa? Now she want to be a pastor.
A pastor? Yep.
Now she want to be a. Ain't that ironic?
She done gave herself to the Lord.
You done slept with the Antichrist, and now he done. Now the well done dried up. He done stopped sponsoring you and all your labels and your Secret Service and protection and all that kind of stuff. And but before you was all for Donald Trump. But the moment he showed you who he really was, well, you already knew. But the moment he cut you off financially, you picked up a church.
That's so crazy.
Wow. Wow.
And you got
I,
followers.
Elder Amorosa.
yeah.
Omarosa gonna scare a roach. You hear me? No, no.
Chris, what up,
She
man?
another Uncle Tom. You know, remember the
What's up,
Django
CJ?
and Samuel L. Jackson's character? That's Omarosa.
That's
So let
almost
me
there.
ask you this: is there any fear as far as because with it can't be women because Donald Trump is the same way, but is there any fear that she may run this presidency and make an emotional move because most women are emotional movers? If that makes
So
sense.
that is always a gamble with any woman, right? Because we know that they are ran off emotions. And
Hmm.
biblically and scientifically, there are certain things and certain positions and burdens that women are not supposed to carry. That's
Carry.
not being sexist. That is factual information.
You're right.
That is why the man is the head, because genetically, men were built to carry more physically, spiritually, mentally, all of that all around. And the
Hmm.
women is supposed to just be the help meet.
Hit
Now,
me.
she may be stronger mentally and may be more of an orchestrator because women see the whole picture.
Right.
Men see a narrow scheme
Narrow.
of everything. You got to remember, I'm on both sides of these fields, so I know how both parties think,
Brett,
right?
shut up.
And so, uh, so, um, I
Brett,
think,
shut
I think that at this stage in her life, she will make more concise and precise decisions because she is also a woman who is now in the menopausal stage. So that means her thinking, her emotions, her body, her whole everything is a little more balanced
Balance.
because she is no longer producing, if you will. She no longer is having that monthly friend that is going to change her whole world. Y'all got wives. Y'all know when they still on that when that friend is there, you
That's
don't know
obsessed.
how
That's
to you
obsessed.
don't even know if you should spend the night in the car or if you should come home. Because if you just move the fork one way, it's hell on earth. You know what I'm saying? Or if you forget the anniversary, it's like you don't forget that. Well, who you sleeping with? What's he doing? And this is why I. And it's like, wait a minute. Like we've been married for 100 years. I I forgot this one time. You know what I'm saying? So at this point, I think she has settled into her womanhood and she has settled into she who she is in a woman and she has a better view of everything that encompasses America and what we need. And no matter what we say, no matter how much the world is misogynistic, no matter how much of a man's world this is, there is nothing like a woman's touch. Nothing. And
Oh,
so she's going to bring back that feminine touch that America has lacked all these years and bring us back to a humanistic state and more of a personable state. Because even in those other countries, yeah, they are ruled by kings and they are ruled by princes and stuff like that.
hmm.
They still go back to their wives to orchestrate. Obama might have been the president, but Michelle
Yep.
ran them ideas. You
That's
know what I'm
true.
saying? And
Yeah.
it has went down in history. Queen Elizabeth was the longest reigning
Right.
queen,
Yep.
female.
Yeah.
And we don't ever hear anything about London. Nothing.
Yep.
I'm not
That's
saying that it's
true.
perfect. I'm not
That's
saying that it's
true.
perfect. But at the end of the day, women can reach a man in a way that other men cannot. And at a woman's voice, a man has to submit himself to that voice.
Hmm.
She
True.
doesn't have to. Kamala has not yelled. She has not been indignant. She has
That's
not
right.
called him out of his name. She has done nothing more than just state facts, factual information that can be Googled, that came out of his mouth.
Hmm.
And she stated facts. And who better to be the president now than somebody who is the vice president and know what really is going on? Donald Trump, you ain't been in that office for 4 years, and your raggedy ass should be in jail. Because if it was anybody else,
That's the truth.
if it was anybody else, you would not even be thought about being on a bill again. So honestly, what does this say about America? It is just
Brent.
like the Bible says, we are a confused generation.
I've
Right.
always said land of the trees, home for the slaves. Because that's what they want to do is hang us. I'm just saying. Literally and figuratively.
Really feel that at this particular point, I say again that man has run this thing in the ground. Period. There's really no other way to put it. Proof is in the pudding. Most wars happen because of man. I have people laughing because there's a guy on Instagram that does voiceovers with Skeletor from the He-Man series, and he said he said, "Remember, a hip hop beef is two angry men writing poems to each other until we meet again." Right? I was like, when you think about it, that's exactly right. It's two angry dudes writing poems to each other, right? And I'm sitting there like, how many times have we had casualties based on the fact Chris and I used to hang out quite a bit, and Chris was in the politics when we was young, and I couldn't stand to hear him talk about this. I'm like, what? I don't care enough, man. The church is right there. Let's go ahead and play, man. You talking about all these politics or whatever. And I never understood how important it was to even have a handle on at least knowledge of things until I really started paying attention. And when I started looking, I was like, yo, that explains a lot. And two men arguing, and Tracy, we talked about this earlier, two men arguing and then turning around and sending thousands of innocent people to a field,
Yep.
because we can get along. We're going to send 10,000 people dressed in army fatigue over here and arm them with assault rifles and grenades and, all this kind of, and I say again, here we go again. The bottom line is while we fighting, there's somebody somewhere off in the distance making billions of dollars every day that these people are out there killing, all for the sake of saying we fighting for our country. When I always say when a war comes up, that means somebody running out of money.
Somebody got paid. Is getting paid.
Somebody,
Yep.
somebody, somebody. It's time for somebody to give. Oh, we got to pay such and so off. Let's start a fight with these other places. And Brent hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of countries that want to see us fall. I'm gonna tell you. I used to be concerned about Afghanistan. I was like, yo, this is crazy. When they were sending videos of them beheading people to our social media forums like Facebook and Instagram, you turn your Facebook on and you're watching somebody with a long sword cut some live man's head off by a tree or in front of hundreds of people and by some pool or whatever. That was one thing. Afghanistan just kind of made me nervous, but Kim Jong Un got me like, yeah, we need
It's
to
always
watch
been Asia.
Korea.
Always
Yeah,
been Asia.
all the time. And his sister is 110 times worse than him.
Mm-hmm.
And she just waiting for him to fall away or she's waiting.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with Asia. Period, man.
Yeah, she's a monster. She ain't nothing to play with. She's ready to, instantly put things in perspective. Like, it's gonna be what it is. Chris, what up, man? How you feel about all of this? Because at this point, Brent has pretty much
Listen,
spoke
first,
Bible on here.
first, what's going on to the family? Good to see everyone
What's up,
doing what
brother?
it is they do. What's up, Trey? What's up, Mose?
Hey, hey.
What's
What's
up?
Brent? Harriet? What's
Hey,
going on? What's
hey.
going on? What's going on, Ham? I love y'all. Hey, Kev, I just hope my prayers is with Kev. Of course, I'm sure y'all talked about that earlier on, and everyone's loving on him and the family of Frankie and all of the musicians, man, that's played with him over the year. You know what I'm surprised. Let me just hit on that, and then I'll try to jump in what y'all talking about. It's such a surprise that this man and what he has brought to the lives of black and white people over generations and generations and generations is not in a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's it's nearly unthinkable when you think about it, right? It's like, man, like he doesn't have a bad song ever, right? So I'm looking forward to the Music Society to love on him and the people that work with him. I'm looking for all of my brothers. I know so many men that played with him over the years, man, including my brother Kevin. I mean, the list goes on. If I start naming Calvin and Jubu, I'll get corny if I miss somebody. But all of these great names need to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for what they've done. Kevin, I'm just looping back around and saying I got love for you and the work that you've done, and Frankie and all that he's meant to music. Frankie, believe it or not, he really has two peers, right? Maybe let me say three. Let's say it's the Four Horsemen. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably got it wrong. But here's my top four, all right, in the R&B circuit. From yesterday, today, and forevermore. I'm gonna start with Frankie Beverly, because he got hits that'll go on, if none other than Before I Let Go. It's gonna live through the test of time. Michael
Yeah.
Jackson, Prince, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Who am I missing? Who am I missing?
Well, first of all, I believe you said Prince, Earth, Wind and Fire, Frankie Beverly. Who else did
Michael
you say? Michael
Jackson.
Jackson.
Michael.
But
Um,
Michael,
if
who?
there's a,
I mean,
if
if I say those are top four, show me why I'm wrong.
well, I can't show you why you're wrong. I can also say that particularly because of their contribution and how they've shaped so many landscapes of this doggone music thing. I would say you just leave it at that four. Now, other people would say, you got Parliament, then you got, the OJs, and you got, but they're not. I just don't feel like these people on the. It's like I don't think it's on the same playing field, to be honest with
It's
you.
not the same. Yeah, it's not the
Uh,
same.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same. I don't
it
think it
at
is.
all, at
I
all,
don't think it
right?
is.
And so we talking about the people who got their stars. The only one missing is Frankie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, we love good music. We could talk about a bunch of great people, but I'm talking about iconic songs that my kids know, that our grandkids know, that our parents and grandparents who have lived long enough to hear it. Who could say anything wrong about a Michael Jackson song?
Yeah.
Or Prince, or Earth, Wind, come on, and Frankie Beverly. And so it's just a surprise to see that he's not in a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame already, but I'm sure he'll get there. And it's unfortunate, right, that people get their flowers when they're no longer with us. That's really,
It's a whole nother thing. It's just
yeah. That's all. It's like, what more greatness do we need to see other than death?
right.
That's
Because
deep.
that's the
Right.
greatest equalizer, right? It's like death came and got you. Oh, now we need to say that you was the who's who. And it's shameful because we have to, as a society, maybe we on a grassroots level need to do more to push some of these people to flowerhood while they can still smell them.
But do you notice that it only happens to black people? Them, those
Absolutely.
Caucasians get the flowers and everything while they alive,
Yes,
bro.
they do. Yes, they do.
Unless
Absolutely.
unless they're like a Michael McDonald who does like black soul music, like those people you don't really get. But us as a people, we don't get no flowers. Look, Aaliyah, Tupac, Biggie, like we
You're
don't
right.
get that until we die.
You're right.
Yeah, it's
And some of
unfortunate.
it is our fault most because we want to keep seeing competition instead of celebration,
True.
right? I mean, we're competing with one another and today, but let me just say something, right? Because we all know this, Tracy. You know this. We all know this because we're musicians in our own right. You know, one thing I learned about music. Me and Kevin, when we were coming up, we listened to everything. Me and Kevin, we practiced together all the time, right? All the time. We listen to all of the greats from Sanborn to Chicoria to the Yellow Jackets. I mean, there's nobody that we didn't listen to and study music and try to mimic their music. And that's not even introducing the gospel side, right? And then even the hip hop and R&B side. But the thing that is crazy is that we in our generation, most you came up right under us, in
Mhm.
our generations, we celebrated the people that were greater than us,
True.
right? I ain't never tried to top nobody's legs that was greater than me. We grew up with the Joe Wilsons. We grew
Yeah.
up with the Natalie Wilsons. We grew up with the Carlton Popes of the world, right? With the Stephen Fords. The list goes on and on and on. Just Jeff Davis, Gerald, right? Poogie on guitar. I mean, Mike Fisher, right? The list goes on and on from the East Coast. Kevin was in love. He had the man crush on Stephen Huff back in the day. I mean, that was like he used to be like,
Mm-hmm.
man, you heard that note that he played. But what I'm saying is, we didn't try to comfort them more than we came for their music.
Right.
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 We came for their music. Today's generation is saying, yo, that nigga whack.
In
I
a
could play
heartbeat, that's
better.
what they
And
do.
I mean, there's no respect. And because
Mhm.
there's no respect and there's no appreciation, I was trying to share this with a pastor friend of mine. And y'all, I know I'm off topic a little bit, but it just ties in my mind to what we're talking about. I was talking to a pastor friend of mine a few weeks ago, and he was talking about that he needs a musician. And I told him, I said, okay, you need a musician, but what kind of musician do you need? He was like, I just need somebody who can play the songs on Sunday. I said, well, shame on you. Because
Right.
if you think that's all it's about, you don't care about the integrity of the person. I said,
That is
because here's why. I said, let me tell you something that you probably don't know, Pastor, is that there's a bunch of musicians and people out here who are learning chords to come and play at your church, and they got their friends ready to kick in your door because they know where everything at in the church.
that is very true. That
They
is
Yep.
not here to play. They here to rob and
They'll
steal.
rob you.
That's
Yep.
number
right.
one. Here's the number. Oh, hold up, Tracy. I ain't gonna cut you off, Queen. Go ahead if you want
Mm-mm.
to
No,
go.
I said you're right. Yeah, you're right.
You're right.
Here's the other thing. Now and then you got people, men or women, but I'm gonna just go ahead and rock with my brothers who are coming into churches, right? And their whole protocol is to try to knock down everybody that they
Bang
can.
every girl.
I, I'm just trying to knock them down, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to collect them. And so not only are you bringing that into the church, but you don't even know if you're bringing disease and infection and a whole list of that, right? But here's where the church invites that mentality. And us older musicians, I'm gonna blame Kevin because he out there, and I'm gonna blame Ham as well, and I'm gonna blame you too. I'm gonna blame you too, Most and
What?
Tracy.
What we do?
I'm gonna keep myself outside of this. Here's the problem. Because when y'all leave and go on vacation, y'all put a number out there that anybody who could play a two-finger chord, they want to get paid that number. And there's no separation between who deserves it and who's the apprentice. Right? The church be like, yo, we need a keyboard player this weekend. It's paying $600. If I need $600 because I'm a grown man out here working, it's some 15-year-old who feel like he deserves $600 too.
Right.
Uh-huh. And all he
And
can
so
do is play
now the
shouting
game
music.
is about I can make what you make.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know one chord better than you. And because of that, you keep coming for the next person who's higher, 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 and you don't never understand or learn what I grew up with, Cunningham and Kevin and Avery and Trey and Harriet, which was called the Brooklyn Slide. If y'all don't know that, I know Kev, you know what that is. But let me tell you what the Brooklyn Slide is for people who listening who don't understand what that is. If you went to New York and you were playing drums, bass, keyboards, organ at a church, and it wasn't your church, but you were sitting in because devotional service started, and the musician wasn't there. Somebody said, "Man, go get on the organ, go get on the drums." You're like, "Oh, okay." As soon as the musicians walked in, they ain't gonna say nothing to you. They gonna hey, Avery, am I wrong?
No,
Kevin,
you
am I
ain't wrong, bro.
They gonna take the sticks out your hand. They gonna get on the organ bench and slide you off and never acknowledge that you there because why? You still learning, rookie.
Darnell used to get on my nerve when he did that, bro.
Yo, it's the Brooklyn Slide. We gonna move you from your spot because you still learning. I said all of that. I chased that rabbit just to circle back around to say like this man deserved his flowers, and I think that we could. Some of us, the younger community that's out here, we probably didn't do enough where he should have got the recognition that he deserved while I mean, Kev, I'm happy my brother was there on this farewell tour and he was able to work with him and see him rest. But it seems like him not performing took something away from him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
It took something away. And the world wasn't ready for that. We were ready for him to cool out. But that music was his life. And the powers that be didn't see it in its totality, right? So, Kev, I know how much you love them, and it's just a little bit of time. Y'all work together. Coupe was even saying that today, like, you could love somebody more than somebody you knew for 30 years, and you met them in 2 weeks.
You don't want to get me started with that. You don't want to get me started with that. Let's go ahead. Let's move on. Trying to make this as peaceful as possible.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. I still got a couple more hours before tomorrow gets here. So yeah.
Right.
I didn't really want to jump on that bandwagon. I appreciate my phone has literally over 190 missed calls, man. There are a lot of people calling wanting to talk about it, and the truth is I wasn't really ready to talk about it because the blow was so intentional, and not intentional, but it was so intense. And we're still, it is a lot of people don't know, and again I don't want to get too off in it, not tonight. I do have to make somewhat of a conclusion on it later, but a lot of people don't know that my father died the night before the first show I did with Frankie. My father died the night before. And, when it happened, I had to keep my face on, that Friday, because the show's on a Friday, so it was Thursday. My dad passed away. And it was hard. Like, that was some hard stuff. Like, it was really hard. But it just puts you in perspective and helps you to understand that, you don't have to know somebody for a long period of time to love them or to have respect for them. And I have respect for Frankie Beverly way before he even knew who I was. I'm just looking at, the different concerts and all that stuff that he was doing. And I was at the Essence Festival in 1994. I was on the third tier of the Superdome, Silverdome.
94?
And yeah, were you here then? Were you here? We don't know. Were you here?
Avery. I mean, not
Well,
Avery.
I was
I
we we
was,
born.
but I was
we
not grown.
okay. All right. Well, you were still here, so that means it worked. It happened. But yeah, I remember looking down at the Silverdome and I was like, I'm gonna be there one day, 1994. And I had already played with Jodeci and all of them at the time. And when that happened, I was like, cool. So 30 years later to be on that stage and looking up at that third tier and going, I was all the way up there saying one day I was gonna be here. And then I'm looking at the stage and going, I'm here. It was a big thing. So I appreciate it. I haven't responded to everything. And like I said, I didn't want to make a big deal of it. I know Chris was making a valid point about where we were. And that's why I wanted to put a pin there and just kind of go in this other direction where we were going. I gotta, Brent, let me tell you why I gotta stay on Tiffany Henyard for a minute. Let me just let me say why. Just let me say why real quick. I have to stay on. Why is everybody leaving? What's going on? Okay, I have to stay on Tiffany Henyard because she has had a spot that um, um, most people wish they had. You know what I'm
True.
saying? Most people wish they could be in these seats. They wish they could have an opportunity to sit in the Senate and be a part of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? They wish they had that. I feel like she literally just single-handedly just showed the country that to give us this position is just not a good thing. When in reality, it's like, and then you did your dirt, you left the country,
And came back.
and your whole particular demeanor on the situation was, I'm gonna come back, and I'm like, what did you come back for? I couldn't come back in the country um and attempt to try to get you to understand I think about the country and trying to be all, whatever, and the truth and fact of the matter is that yeah, we've created some very bad, nasty habits, you
Yes.
know,
That's
and
because
I
she thought
just
she was
think
invincible. She thought she
that's
was
I was getting
invincible.
ready to say that
That,
word. She
yeah.
she thought she was untouchable, and the truth was, no, not only are you not um you don't want to get to that point where you're constantly trying to prove a point. But listen, the proof is in the pudding. Now we talked about Donald Trump, right? Now I understand we ain't cool with the fact that this man sat up here and he was able to do everything he wanted to do, and he's still on the ballot to be president. We get that, right? So
Facts.
you look at that. Now here's a woman. You stupid. You sat up here. You took the money. You did all of this stuff. Donald Trump didn't pay taxes. Well, you took taxpayers' money. You understand what I'm saying? You took their money. Donald Trump evaded taxes. You took these people's money. They paid their taxes. They went and got them done properly. You took them, and then you went and took them, and then you walking around like, yeah, I'm whatever. You showed everybody what not to do.
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
You taught everybody how not to talk, how not to be present, how not to, say anything about what's going on. Because at the end of the freaking day, you are still, and I say this, you still a monkey to them. And they literally
Hmm.
going, look at this monkey done took our money. I still
Yep.
say,
So
who
wait, so
let
did
this
she go to
woman
the? Did she go out of
go
the
ahead.
country when she took it?
Bruh, listen very carefully. She got the money. Hold on. She got the money, right?
Right.
Got the money, was buying stuff. The owner of Amazon actually went and called Congress and said, yo, this chick is buying, stuff on Amazon for like 40 and $50,000.
What on
And
Amazon
isn't
cost that much?
maybe she brought an accumulation of stuff.
A
I don't know.
couple of hookahs. I don't
But
know.
but here's the reality. She
I'm
went over
firing my
there,
coals up right
took
now.
took 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 the money, went and left the country, and once they actually put it out that they were looking for her, That was public knowledge. It's not something that she couldn't have known. It was public knowledge. The ATF, FBI, them two acronyms, you in trouble. So when they turned around and went over and yeah, she bought a house. This chick went and bought. I mean, she living in a mansion in Dalton, Illinois. The tallest thing out there is the water towers. Everything else is single level.
The
You know what I'm
tree.
saying? And she bought, but she left. She left the country and came back. Yo, when they came,
That's the
listen,
problem that I don't get, bro. If you
you
got that
got
much
on a
money,
plane. No, no, no. Hear me out. She got on a plane where I want everybody to know. That's why when I see these people acting stupid at these airports and stuff, and going crazy and breaking screens and hollering at the flight attendants and all this other stuff, this is a federal institution.
yep.
The airline is a federal institution. It is connected to the FAA. When I tell you, you act stupid in that airport, they can charge you with whatever they want. But my point is, you gave your government name, you blundering idiot. And
Right.
then you got on the plane thinking you're gonna come back into the country and they not gonna say nothing to you. And you, oh, by the way, ain't you the chick that took 3.4 million from a small city in Illinois? And
What
you
was
mean to
she
tell
came
me
back for?
you what? Listen, she came back to get them shoes she bought. She forgot them. That's what happened. And I told Brent, I said, listen, at this point, I wanted you to talk about it. That's why I wanted to stay there for a minute. We got plenty of other stuff we can talk about. But the reality of it is that we talk about Kamala Harris, right? And we're looking at what she's fighting for. We're looking at, what she's standing for, what her mission is. She's going up against this man that the majority of people hate, but he still has power. Look at this man. He was a president. He turned around and evaded taxes. 300 something counts of treason, and he went right back on the ballot.
Yeah.
Right here, you are a black woman in a small town, and you couldn't keep your tail still enough to just try to just ride the wave and just sit there and just be cool
Couldn't
and
do it.
understand that you are setting and paving the way for other people to come behind you and be able to do this. You know what you taught them? Yeah, get your bread. Be hood about it. I didn't understand that. I don't know.
She also taught them townspeople that when you see somebody look like me coming, close the door.
Close the door. Close the door. Don't you ever she taught them, what they say in Adulting? Don't y'all ever do this again. I
That's
still want to know, how did that woman even get in the chair?
I would
How did you get
demonstrate.
there? And I'm looking at everybody else, and I'm like, well, all of y'all look like y'all could have voted her out. Like, why did
Yeah,
y'all
but who,
who?
who ran against her? That's another thing you gotta ask.
Nobody. That's
That's
the
how she
thing.
got in.
Nobody ran against her.
Unanimous.
Nobody ran against her. Nobody. And at the time, there's a certain appointed time that you have to actually come up with somebody who's going to fill that chair. And if you do not, then the government gets involved
Yeah.
and they turn around and they appoint somebody. That may not always be good either. They had to put somebody in that seat and they put Riri in there and just
It's a Riri.
Right.
A
whatever
nigga's
her
gonna
name.
always be a nigga. A nigga's gonna
Yeah.
always nigga.
Listen.
And so Europe didn't have shoes. Like, here's the thing. This is why scammers are in jail. They get too greedy.
That's
They get
Yep.
too
right.
Yep.
cocky.
Yep.
Be comfortable with what
Yep.
you do, what you got. You slid past it or whatever like that. As long as she was in Europe, America couldn't touch her.
Right, and that's what I was saying. It don't make sense. If you are in Europe, first of all, when you talk about fashion, I love New York, I love LA, but Europe is the place, bro. It is.
That's where it's made.
It's where it's exactly. So why are you gonna take this money all the way to Europe and then come back to the
Put
United
some
For
Amazon.
what?
Because
Amazon.
the American dollar is still stronger than the dollar over in Europe and in those other places. So yeah, you might have stole a couple of million over here, but over there you are a multi-millionaire. You feel me? Like
Exactly.
I don't. So she needs to be in jail. Yeah,
She
because you
do.
dumb. So
She
we're gonna sentence you to the death penalty because you stupid. And you need to
Mm.
be electrocuted, you need to be fried, and you need to die.
she
Because
need
you
a
dumb.
stupid. She need
Her
a
Because you
brain is
stupid
dumb.
smack
already
just
fried.
for that. Just smack her
So,
upside
so,
her.
so, Brent, I want to tell you, I appreciate you. You guys don't know, but Instagram sent me a note and told me that I cannot go live anymore until the 13th. Thank you, Brent. That lets me know that everybody was paying attention. I appreciate you. Thank
Oh
you.
boy.
Instagram.
Yeah, they did.
I didn't even
Don't
know
go
it was on
live to
Instagram. So see
13.
now you owe me a check. Hold on, what's your cash out? Let me see what increase
they,
right
they
now.
literally just sent me a thing that said, "Hey, you won't be able to go live on here till about September the 13th." I'm like, "What's
Look
today?
Yeah.
at
The
God.
Wow.
what's today? The 11th? Okay,
11.
Yeah.
I'm not worried
It's
about
gonna
it.
be the 12th.
Elevation.
I see y'all. I see them on Friday. Thank you. I'm not worried
Friday the
about it.
13th. Wow.
Right.
Oh wow. Yeah.
That's when y'all gonna bring me on. How about I'm not going live that day? How about that? I'm not gonna do it. Yeah,
You know,
I just
I don't
go ahead,
know.
Brent.
Where is Condoleezza Rice?
I
Where
don't know,
is Condoleezza Rice?
That's a good question.
That's
She
a
is
Brent.
the
great question.
only
That's a great question, Brent.
she is the only coon that got it right. Where is Colin Powell?
Ain't
That
he
yeah.
dead?
He died,
Yeah.
Did
bro.
he?
He
He
Yeah,
died,
did
he
bro.
die?
passed
Okay, so
away.
we know he's in hell. Okay. Where is Condoleezza Rice? Come on now. Colin Powell wasn't saved. Come on.
He
You
didn't
got to
know
know them
Jesus.
that labor amongst you.
He
He's in
didn't know
hell.
Amongst you,
Jesus.
not amongst
Amongst
you.
you.
He's in hell. Okay? I'm sick of sending people to heaven that I know went to
Right.
hell.
He didn't know Jesus as partner
Anyway,
of
he
his
didn't know
sin.
Jesus in the pardon of his sins and in the resurrection of his power. He's in hell. Anyway, where's Condoleezza? She's probably in bed right now with sponge rollers in her hair right now.
Right.
The pink ones with the snaps.
What the
No,
snap?
I think they the green ones. I think
Yo,
they the
bro.
green ones with the snaps.
No, she
She
got
got
the
she got the
wrought
wax
iron
paper in
joints. The wax.
between.
You,
Y'all are stupid, bro.
You know
you
what that
know,
tells us? We are old, Brent. I know you.
We,
We don't want to get to. We
Right.
old. We old.
I used to roll my mother's hair, so I know.
Oh Lord.
Where
We
is
old.
Condoleezza? Where is
Listen,
she?
y'all know anybody that makes sense. And can I bring it here 1 second? So, I got like almost, I guess, 15,000 followers on Instagram. You look on Facebook, it's almost like 8. I'm kind of going up on TikTok now. Here's the thing: the more you talk about what is correct, the less people follow you.
that's true.
The more you speak about things that are of a nature where you have to think and you have to put yourself, I found that a lot of people are popular off of emotions.
True.
Mm.
It's not always on based on truth. It's off of how I feel that day. If you hit me where I feel that I am that day, I'm not only going to, tell you that you're right, but I'm also going to tell people to follow you. But the more you tell the truth and the more you hit home to where you make me think and I'm convicted every time you talk. I'm not that easy to gain followers or whatever. And I noticed that people like, Condoleezza Rice, and even back in the day when Coretta Scott King was around, and that level of poise, and the people who still, you had a lot of people that hated them because a lot of people just don't want to be told where they are. And I believe it. You know what I'm saying? I'm angry. I'm angry that you met me where I am because I've been putting on a show for I don't know how long, but here you come unmasking my crap,
Yeah.
and saying, this is what it is. And we've all been there, especially with church and all that other stuff. And I think what we're talking about right now, like Brent was saying, where is she? Let's go further than that, Brent. I'm with you. I'm in the car. I'm in the passenger seat. Let's look at it this way. Even with music, where are the Whitney Houstons? Where are Patti LaBelle was dressed from head to toe. You couldn't even see her shoes. She kicked them off eventually, but you couldn't even see her shoes.
You're
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Where is the Shaka Khan? I thought Shaka Khan was risky. She wore, sleeveless vests, and I'm like, oh my God, she gonna pop out of that. But we had class, we had poise. We looked a certain way. Dorothy
They
Dandridge
in
in her heyday,
storefront churches
that
singing praise and worship.
Well, no, you gotta also understand this is different areas. Like that's how they were during Michael Jordan age as basketball. But then when you had Allen Iverson come, who was the voice of the people, because people couldn't
yeah,
afford suits, he made it
right,
okay to wear jeans and baggy shirts
Hmm.
and all of this
right.
other stuff. And so now we're going even moving forward. Now the whole thing is skinny jeans, and people would rather wear that because it's more about comfortability, and I don't have to really try my
Are
my,
they
my heart.
comfortable though? I be looking at some of these dudes, and I'm like, bruh, you look like you make one left turn, and your left testicle gonna be in your nostril. I don't get it.
Oh my God. Hey, Elder
I do
Terrence.
not get it.
What's up, sir? I think
I
they
don't.
are not comfortable as far as what they're wearing. I think it's a trend
Oh,
now.
you're talking about the trend? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
everything is
You're right.
about trend, and everything, like you said earlier, is about emotion because we're riding off of this whole emotional thing. So it's like, well, my emotion is telling me I need to wear some jeans like that because this is what they're wearing on TV. This is what they're wearing on award shows. They're not wearing
Yeah, yeah.
tuxedos anymore. So now I have to fit that trend if I want to be cool.
Right, right.
If you're not
I
cool
think,
if you don't wear, you know, little tight pants.
yeah, and they can have it. I think one of the situation that we look at now, like I said, when you come to realize where we are as a society, I was telling everybody that Chris and I were coming up. Chris was Chris was more he was into, like I said, the politics and stuff. He was into like the science and stuff. I was, matter of fact, I was like, listen, I don't care what made that crap is ugly, and I don't want nothing to do with it. Like he would always have some kind of look at, like, he was trying to be, how was it built? What started it? How did it come about? I was like, I don't give a crap. That's ugly, bro. I don't care nothing about it. You go ahead. Whenever you done with that, this is my reality. That mess is ugly. But we were always, kind of in that page. And there's a person on here who, you know, Chris was scientific. I was, matter of fact, and then Terrence knew everything else. Terrence knew
Everything.
everything else. Terrence
And,
knew
and he looked like an imam.
right. Terrence knew everything else.
Oh, wait a minute. Yours is elite. Please don't take this wrong, but yours is a lot longer than mine, sir.
That is true, bro. Yeah, that is true, Chris. We boys, but I'm just saying. But I think, when it comes to the
That's a
reality of
testament
it,
to your brilliance, baby.
Yeah, okay. Whatever.
I
Good
think
evening, everyone.
I think where we are now is paying attention to the fact that reality is reality. Terrence, you can't a little earlier, Chris, you kind of missed it too. We were just talking about how and Brent says it best. I'm just saying what he said, but it made sense that right now a woman's touch on the country would probably help us quite a bit. Because
Absolutely.
right now, and I said this earlier, that men have run this earth in the ground. We've been trying to show virtually whose penis is bigger. We've been trying to see who has the most power, who has created the most wars. Women didn't create wars, men did. And when you look at places like, again, Afghanistan, and even some places in India and Saudi Arabia, and all of those places, the women really don't have too much of a voice. They, in those countries, they are to be seen and not heard.
Silent. Yep.
Which yeah, and then I told y'all I went to Kuwait, and we were out there in what's the name, Iraq, and all of that. And this lady, man, the only thing you saw was her hands and her eyes. You didn't see anything else. She looked like a walking blanket because she was just covered from head to toe. And she had such an attitude, and I said, I get why you can't do nothing else. Yeah, she upset. Yeah, but in the hey, she in the desert. Somebody, yeah,
And she got
she
and all
hot
all
for real. Yeah, but I just think this country, and again,
that's
I'm saying it again, Brent, I need you to rock with me, man. I want you to stay here with me. But Terrence, we
I'm
talking about
here.
this
I'm just
stupid.
disappearing because doing
I get
medicinal
it.
things at the
I
moment.
get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right up, man.
But they turned around and this Tiffany Henyard chick decided that she's going to take money from the city, and that was the end of that. She took 3.4, and actually I did my research. It's 3.9 million, which is basically $4 million, and she left the country. And the person, about to call her something, I'm gonna try to use my Kamala Harris mind. She turned around and decided she was gonna come back. I don't know what she forgot. I don't know where it was, but if you're gonna take $4 million of taxpayers' money and leave the country, I don't know why you're coming back. But she came
Bruh,
back,
not only
and
am I
once
not
she
coming back,
landed,
I'm changing my name too.
yeah, and but here's the thing: she didn't. She didn't change anything. Terrence, and please stop me if I'm wrong. You are dealing with the federal building, a federal institution. You
Federal.
can't mess with the airlines and the airports and the FAA. You're not gonna do nothing, and you sitting up here acting like everything is everything. You have been red tagged and flagged. They
in the immortal words of Malcolm X, you've been had.
Wait, rumba
Led astray.
bamboozle.
and Terrence, and then he said, what the Federal Bureau of Investigation said, by any means necessary. Either she alive or dead, but bring her black. You know what? Back over.
Yeah, you coming home.
Yeah,
You may not get,
whether you want to or not.
coming.
They had her face up on every wall.
You coming.
Mhm.
That dummy went over there, spent $40,000 at Amazon, and that owner went back.
Joint, bro.
Listen, if you
And
tell me my
gave
cart,
a mailing address because in Amazon you can't pick. Well, you could pick it up.
No, but see, we're not talking about Versace. We're not talking about Louis Vuitton. She went to Amazon.
Because she was a lazy crook. She didn't want to have to go and pick up nothing. She said, "Bring it."
and then hey, check this out. And then the stuff that she was sporting after they basically, Tracy, they would take the pictures of her, like different pictures she was taking and stuff she was wearing. I said, you got arrested for that? First of all, listen, if you're gonna take some. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna go to jail, you don't break in a Louis Vuitton store and just take a card and leave. Or you took that blouse, you got arrested for them pants. You look like a
Even if you
walking piece of
rob a Louis
foil.
Vuitton store, you're gonna be pissed because the bags they have on display are fake.
Are fake. Those are not the real ones. They got to go in the back and get them. Exactly. They're not even real.
Listen, in our town, there was a principal by the name of Joe Carter, and he was infamous for giving this speech every year for graduation. He said, "If it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, you sweep streets like Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel, and he went through this whole litany to the point. If you're gonna be a thief, boo." Listen, I tell people often. I used to work in a bank, and I told people, they were like, "Aren't you tempted by this money?" I said, "Let me explain something to you. The money in this drawer is not enough for me to disappear on."
All right.
Right. Absolutely.
If my mind is going to flip that switch, I got to your point, Avery. I got to be able to take enough money where nobody will ever hear of me ever again. I'll send a card anonymously just to let you know through some kind of signal that I'm still living and breathing.
Right.
You won't see me. You won't never
Alicia Keys said, "You don't know my name. I done changed it."
see. I need if I'm going to be involved like that, I need 20 million, because 20 million will make sure that
That's
I'll
enough.
never have to. My shadow will never darken the city of Patterson ever again.
Ever.
Ever again.
Well,
It
here's
might be
a
lucky if you catch me in the United States, because I may be some other parts.
right, but here's a better way. Here's a better way. I have a foolproof plan. I have a plan that'll work. That you will never get caught. You will never be questioned. You will never be put on the flag list. You will never listen. Just don't do it.
How about that?
That listen.
Just that.
That will save you. When I tell you, peace of mind is so much more valuable than a bag. I keep telling people, everybody trying to be rich, and peace of mind is so much more valuable, because there are a lot of people who got money that are miserable. I don't care how they got it. Donald Trump is miserable. Donald Trump
Very.
has
Yes.
been miserable. Donald
Yeah.
Trump is unhappy. Donald
And
Trump
I'm glad
is
Think
at a point where he is literally, if he doesn't do the stuff that he does, I believe that if he was to sit in a room by himself, he would pull the trigger and kill himself.
I
That's
think he
how
miserable because he funny looking.
Wait a minute. Yeah. But I honestly believe that there's
Tracy.
something really wrong with him, though, because when he don't get, even when you look at his picture while she was talking, he looked like a little bratty kid from.
He did.
on his
He
face.
did. Like
Did
he was,
y'all realize he had purple rinse in his hair?
I know he had something.
He had purple rinse. If you look at his ear and look at his hair, he had purple rinse in his hair, like the old ladies be getting at the hairdresser.
Speaking of ears, how come there's no scar? But I'm just gonna leave that alone.
Terrence, you know that
You're
was
right.
all
You know
fake.
that was,
That whole thing was fake.
but
I'm just
That
saying
whole
that
thing was
part out
fake.
loud. That's all.
But
You
he
right,
was
'cause
looking
I was
like a
looking
little kid from the He-Man Woman Haters Club.
Yeah, he was literally, first of all, here's the thing to that, and I'm glad y'all brought that up. We're gonna move on, but here's the thing to that. The thing to that is, first of all, they never found a body
Fact.
after they so-called killed the, thank you, Glenn, I appreciate it, man. After they killed the sniper or the shooter that was on the building, they never found the body. Donald Trump did not at all, never went to a doctor. They don't have any reports of any type of visitation to a doctor. And if somebody shot, I don't care if they shot in a finger by another person. No,
And here's
Glenn, come on. I'll send you this. Go ahead, Terrence.
That's what his ear looked like.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
he had people
shot
going
it.
to his
And
rally
this
looking
is
like
the
that.
only sanitary, whatever, sterile situations
Yeah.
going on.
Yep.
Yeah, it
I
was.
So
didn't
that
on
guy
that night. I was
that
not
he
on
saw,
last.
Yeah, them
Yeah.
people's coming to his rally looking like that, having it on their ear. Like, are you serious?
really?
Yeah.
Yes, all them Caucasian people had a little band-aid on their ear, just sitting there at his. I'm like, bro, come on.
Let's move on, because that's some straight up. Kevin,
Yeah.
come on, man. You don't want to get shut down on here, bro.
Right.
Well, I think we all right. After Brenton said what he said, I think we all right. I think, too, what we have to pay attention to is, this is just the times that we live in. People are entertained by foolishness.
That's true.
People are entertained by dumb acts of, whatever. They like stupid stuff. I say this again. Now, I started a motivational speaking page on TikTok, right? And so I started it, but I was going on other people's lives and seeing how are they gaining, more followers and more, how are they trending more, and what's going on. Can I tell y'all something? There is a girl, and I didn't get her name. Do you know that this young girl, I am proving my point, this young girl is on her page, standing there. She's half dressed, right? She's standing at a table. She's looking at the camera. And do you know she had almost 2.9 million people watching her? And do
Do
you know what
what?
this, I'm getting ready to tell you. She was sitting up there, and every time they type or post what kind of sound they want her to make, she makes it.
Bro, we talked about that too a lot.
Somebody went on there and said, make a sound like a cat
bark like a dog.
being run over by a car, and she said, "I don't know what sound that is. Let me see if I could do it." And she's doing it, and all you see is stars and hearts and cakes and stuff, and all. And if she's got 2 point some odd people, so 2.4 million people watching her, she's making money from this.
Yeah.
Yes, she
Big
is.
money.
So that means you don't even have to do a lot.
And
to
guess
get that
what?
money.
She's not even known. Don't nobody know her.
Mm-mm.
And she's making, I mean, the girl got 7 point something million followers.
So
Yep.
she's
But
the
what?
internet Seinfeld. Because you remember they asked Seinfeld when his show first came on. He said, "What is your show about?" He said, "Nothing. A show about nothing." That's literally how he described it.
And that man made millions. I remember when Seinfeld was going off the air, his last show, every network shut down to watch his show. Every network. I'm not talking about every channel. Every network shut down to watch his show. And my point is, when you see people like Donald Trump, he's entertaining.
Yeah.
He's entertaining. He's literally entertaining. Tiffany Henyard, you a monkey. You entertaining. You thought you were so smart. They are literally laughing at you. This dummy got on a plane and came back to Dalton. Listen, she didn't go to she didn't go to Detroit. She didn't go to Michigan. I mean, not Michigan. She didn't go to Mississippi. She didn't go to Boston. She didn't come to LA. She went back to Dalton.
Maybe she got homesick.
No, what happened was she left the water running in the sink and she didn't want to run the water. That's what it was.
No, she forgot there was a package in front of her door from Amazon where she
From
was spending
Amazon?
40 grand. And she went over there to deal with it. But I think this is what I'm saying. This is why when we look at Kamala Harris and we watch, the way that she's dealing with this idiot, you have to give her kudos because at the end of the day, she is literally classy. Yes, I know there was some time she wanted to forget who she was, and
Yeah.
she wanted to.
Former president, did that pause said it all.
Yeah, I saw that.
No, when he
I
cut
didn't
her
even watch
off,
the bit.
when he cut her off and said, "I'm talking," remember that?
Yes, he
Well,
did.
Did you see her face, bro?
Ooh.
Yeah,
My God, today he was gonna catch
Yeah.
her ass.
He dealt with a black woman before, because
we just had that conversation.
Mm.
Just had that conversation. We just had that conversation.
Mhm.
Just had that conversation.
when he
But I
goes,
think, I think one of the biggest things now is that he has to basically pay attention to the fact that this woman does not care anything about what you have to say. She's not moved. She's not. Here's a word. She's not intimidated.
at all.
She's not afraid of you. She's not scared of you. She's not timid of you, but because of you. And it's just that entitlement thing. It's like, let's be real about the whole matter, man. You basically are you a bully. And some people don't. There's a lot of people who don't like bullies. I know I don't like them.
She came
And,
across as being first of all, a woman of integrity, a woman of character, and she came across as a woman that is a force not to be played with, because she
Right.
never allowed anything he said to pull her out of character. Like I said, there was that one moment where she was about to go there, but for the 99.9% of the time, she remained classy about it. She remained composed about it. She showed presidential. I'm making up a word.
Presidentiality.
She
Yeah.
showed that characteristic. For those that have been on the fence and wondering what kind of president she would be, she just showed you everything
That's
that
right.
she would be and the capacity to be. And for those who don't recognize, I don't know what to tell you.
As Brent said, if Donald Trump becomes president of these United States in November, I heard people say, I'm moving to Canada, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I'm going to tell you what, it is going to be a world war. I believe it's not just going to be. Now, what I know about a world war, we can feel like it's a world war right here. We were talking about a civil war a couple of weeks ago. And the reality of it is there are white people who don't like some white people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be very clear. There's a white. I told y'all one of the sound guys from my organization. The way he was talking about Donald Trump, you'd have swore this man was from Hackensack somewhere,
Duncan.
waiting for the 161 bus or something, because he was ticked off. He was like, I can't stand that orange ugly. I mean, he was gone. And I asked him, I said, what is it about him you don't like? He said, he don't talk for me. He don't speak for me. He said, I'm around black people every weekend. I have been for the last 25, 30 years, and I don't have a problem with them. He said, we all bleed, we all crap, we all eat, we all sleep. Some of us snore,
Exactly.
some of us don't. He was going down the line. So I think now we just need to really pay attention to the fact that this is a very trying time. I'm pretty sure Kamala Harris has a lot more support than people give her credit for. I
Yeah,
think
I
she's
think she's going to take some of his votes.
well, if they keep having debates like this after a while, they're gonna be like, yeah, he's an idiot. Nobody cares. We're just gonna
Right.
go over here.
I'm still stuck on the whole thing with the cats and the dogs.
No, I'm on the many billions. That joke was funny to me.
No,
No.
the comment about that there are some states that are allowing abortions at the 7th month, 8th month, and 9th month, even after birth. I said
After birth, right.
I'm listening to this. I'm like, are y'all listening to the words that's coming out of his mouth?
He's entertaining. He's an idiot. That's why
He
they're
said-
letting him go up there.
He
That's
said they
true.
let them have the baby and then they decide what they want to do with it. What?
That's called adoption, dummy.
Right.
Abortion, you dummy. Jeez.
Yeah, we don't care about that. We don't care anything
anyway,
about that.
in
It's,
the words of Kevin Bond, and we're moving.
Moving on.
yeah, it's not something we need to deal with. Brent, I think it was in Georgia. It may not have been. I don't know. I know it was in Texas, but it was in Georgia, I believe. There was a guy that is he was a supervisor at Walmart, and this dude got caught taking up to $90,000 from Walmart. Like, he was taking $1,000 a day for, like, yeah, he was taking 1,000 from the register. He wasn't even going in the back and counting it. He was taking it at the register in the front. In the front of Walmart, there's 109 cameras on each register.
Yep.
Right. In some more high tech Walmarts, there's 110, but he literally was taking $1,000 a day from registers. Now, they called him after he was taking $90,000, so $90,000.
90 days.
So they literally watched this man take $1,000 for 3 months. They watched him, and I kept saying, and here we go again with the entertainment. I think at one point it just became a thing of, it was a bet. Like, let's see how long he think he gonna get away with this. $1,000 a day from Walmart. Can somebody please let me know what they think that
Bruh, that's the
Can
dumbest
y'all
thing
tell
I've
me
heard in my life.
what y'all?
Probation.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out exactly what until what are we doing here? Because
He stole from Walmart, bro.
$90,000
Over
from
90
a
days.
register over 90 days. $1,000 he was stealing.
Answer me a question
And
if you know this detail. Was he literally stealing it from the same register every day?
now, that's what I was going to ask, because they never said that. But then after I went, on TikTok, once you go on, it'll tell you what you watched. There's always a part 2 or part 3 or whatever. And on the part 2, he was a supervisor, so he was taking it from multiple registers. He wasn't just doing it from one. And I don't care. Well, this is what I'm saying. If they watched you for 90 days, I believe that somewhere in the back there was a bet going on.
Yeah, it was.
Because
if Bob does it today.
Yeah. Listen,
So wait,
first thing
was he prosecuted?
he was. It was so bad that they had him in the back. There's a holding room that they hold you in until the police get there.
The security room, yeah.
And his mother and some of his family members came up in there, and they was trying to talk to him, and he was so like, what's the word? he was so scared that he couldn't even talk. Like he was having a very hard time. Like he couldn't even, get it out. And his mother was like, "If you just tell me the truth, I can help you or whatever." Them cops was looking at her like, "I don't know what you think you're gonna help him with, because we got him on camera for 90 days stealing. The only thing you can help him with is to kind of help him to understand that he ain't getting out no time soon." But
Dude
You
has
know,
his
I
own
know with
family.
places like
He has his own
Walmart.
family deal.
he said,
Yeah, I
"What? Oh
think
yeah, pretty much."
I think places like Walmart they'll prosecute you, but you
Yes, they will.
also have to pay that money back.
Yeah, they're not gonna let that go. And
Yeah,
that's a court order. So if you
yeah,
don't honor the court order, you in trouble.
you in
So
So
trouble.
if you
Mhm.
stole 90, I hope you still got 87,000 of it.
yeah,
I really hope, because
and that's gone because you're gonna need a lawyer after that. You screwed. You
I have a
you you got a
story
lot.
about that.
You got
So
well,
back in 2006, 7? No, 2006. It was 2006. I was in college and I was singing with this group in South Florida and we had a concert. And so I was a broke college kid and my friends and I, we needed to get, outfits.
uh-oh.
oh boy. All right.
All right, go on with the story.
Hey,
You were
Brent,
in
keep laughing one second. So Terrence and Tanya and Justin, all of us, I'm officially in Instagram jail because Brent was being Brent. They shut my page down, so I will not be able to go live on Instagram until
Friday
Friday,
the
the
13th.
13th.
how apropos. Anyway,
So I
but
think
now
I'm
Brent,
gonna have.
How does
you
that
say
happen? How does that happen?
you were in pursuit of new outfits to sing, to wear for the choir.
Well,
For
hold on,
church.
Terrence. Yeah,
Yes.
what? Keep that pin there. So Tanya, what happened was Brent was being Brent, which we're never gonna change. And basically he was talking about Donald Donald Trump verbally, and they sent me a message that said, "Yeah, we're gonna cut you off till Friday." So,
For talking about Don
I
Don.
said what I said. And when you get out of Instagram jail, I'm going to say it again.
yeah, okay. I may just go live with you on Friday afternoon. Say, here he is again, guys.
He's gonna say, now, as I was saying last week.
Period.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right,
Period.
right. But go ahead. So
Yeah.
you were getting
So
some apparel.
we needed these outfits and we needed these outfits. So I already had my outfit, but I didn't have no shoes. So my friends and I, we went to Sawgrass Mills Mall in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I went to Nordstrom and I saw these penny loafers
Miss Tanya is over it.
to match my outfit.
You couldn't go. You had to go to Nordstrom's, like
Right.
Nordstrom's.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't.
If you're gonna go, dream big.
Go big.
Don't go big. Don't.
You
don't
can't
Every
get it
I
from
get
shoe
it.
I
I
Walmart.
have,
get it. Okay.
unfortunately, is a designer shoe. Right? I've always been that person. So, um, they were on display. So they back in those times they had one shoe on display. You had to get the other shoe from the back. So I tried on the one shoe. I was like, "Oh my god, let me try on the next shoe." Tried on the other shoe, and I walked out of the store with them.
Hmm.
And I told my friends, I said, "Y'all bring the car around. Like it is what it is. Whatever, whatever." So as I'm walking out of the store, like it was very casual, very like whatever. I'm walking out the store, and something said, "You need to run." So I'm like,
And those designers.
in those
Right.
designer penny
It was the
loafers.
Holy Ghost.
No, the Holy Ghost said, "You need to run." So I said,
I'm running for
run.
my
So I'm
life.
still walking through the parking lot trying to find my friend's car. I'm like, I'm not gonna run. That voice got loud in my head and said, "You need to run now."
Now?
So I just started jogging, like, okay, well, let me just run. And then that same voice said, "Turn around." I turned around and the security guard was chasing me. Baby, I picked up my feet and I started running like a Jamaican in the Olympics, okay?
Cool running.
And my friends, I don't know where the heck they were with the car, but I'm like, I'm running through the whole parking lot and I see the man and he's like, stop, stop. And so I started screaming as I'm running. I'm like, oh my God. No, true story. I wish I could call. His name was Terrence, my friend. His name was Terrence, actually. And so I was
Why
just like,
not?
you know what? I'm not gonna keep running. Whatever
You are.
happens, happens. So the man got, he was like, we got you, we got you. So he arrested me.
Whoa, whoa.
Yeah. And then took me to the back.
Mm-mm.
So I'm like, this is the first time this has happened to me. So I'm like, oh my God, let me think on my feet. How can I, I'm from Newark. We think on our feet. So I'm like, oh my God. So I told the man, I said, hey, listen. He took me to the back. He was like, yeah, you stole these shoes. I got you on camera, blah, 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 blah. We're gonna have to, take you in, your band from Nordstrom. I said, listen, I cannot go to jail. He was like, what you mean you can't go to jail? I was like, sir, I'm a celebrity.
This story keeps building.
I'm
Oh
loving
This
it.
my.
is
I'm loving it.
this is such a true story. I called my friend Terrence for the car. I said, Terrence, they got me. And he was like, what? So I was like, they got me in the back. So I said, sir, it's all type of paparazzi out there. I cannot be seen in
Well,
handcuffs.
you know
Oh
what?
my God.
I
I
don't.
said I would never tell the story. But
This is
Terrence knows this. His name is Terrence Grice. Torrance
Don't
Grice.
give people last names.
Oh, okay. Well, he's the one that can fact check.
Statute of limitations is gone. We good.
He
Okay,
was
okay.
cracking up laughing. So this is how I got off. This is how I got off. I told the man said, you a celebrity, so why you in here stealing? I said, listen, I'm in between checks. And I cannot.
You're so
I
quip,
said,
honey. You're so quip.
I need these shoes
I
for a pot,
just
like, for a trailer. Like, I cannot. He was like, what you play on? I said, sir.
Now he a fan.
I said, right. I said, sir, I'm on Nickelodeon. And he
Oh
was like,
Lord.
what? I was like, I remembered everybody used to tell me I looked like Kel from Keenan and Kel.
Oh, okay. Smart. I'm cash
So I
doll.
said, I'm Kel. I'm Kel from Keenan and Kel. And he was like, oh my God, for real? I was like, yes. I said, and so I can't be seen coming out of here in handcuffs. So we're gonna have to do this real indiscreet because there's paparazzi everywhere. He was like, you know what? My son is a fan. Like, oh my God. Oh my. This is such a true story.
I cannot believe this story.
Did
Did
you
you
ask
get
for an
a fake
autograph?
autograph?
I took
A
pictures
picture.
and gave him an autograph.
He gonna get home and say that. They're probably gonna say that's not
uh,
him.
But guess what?
Brent'll
I
be
didn't go to
long
jail.
gone. Yeah, I'm about to
You
say
get them
he'd have
shoes.
been long gone.
He let you
And
keep the
I
shoes.
never went back to Nordstrom.
Did you keep the shoes or they took the shoes?
He gave me he had to take the shoes back and they gave me my shoes. I was so humiliated.
That's a
But
good trade.
and then
That's a good
then this
trade.
is how I really played it off. So when he was like, okay, well, I'm not going to arrest you. We're just gonna give you like a warrant. Like you can't ever come back in here again. Okay, cool. So I said, well, I gotta play this to the end. So my friend pulled the car up. He called me. He's like, we out in the front. I said, okay, we finishing up, whatever, whatever. So I had on like some type of jacket or whatever like that. So as I'm walking out, I put the jacket up to my face.
Listen, you got to play the role out. You have to play the role out. If you gonna go there, you gotta do it.
Oh God. And so
That's
I
crazy
got
to
in this
me.
Impala
Out of your face like you a celebrity.
and I got in the back seat. I'm
That
like this. When I tell you, my friend was laughing so hard, we had to pull over. Like, because he literally could not drive. He
oh
was
my
like,
god.
only you. I was like, nigga, let's go. Like,
That is
let's
funny.
go. And so my friend, he had already been to jail a couple of times. So he was like, listen, I can't. We can't do this. Like, I can't go back to jail. Like, I got kids. I got a wife. Like, what are we gonna do? But we were laughing so hard, and we were on time for the concert.
With no
Let me
penny
tell you
over.
something. The dance that I did that night, I
I mean,
gave
you
God
celebrated.
the best praise. You hear me?
That's
That's hilarious.
that is crazy. You're a best storyteller, and apparently you starring in your own stories are hilarious. That is crazy.
It was
You're
crazy. So
That's
my point.
you cannot have made that up. No one.
No
No,
way.
no. You can't make stuff up like that.
All
My
I know
point.
is that people like Brent, and I'm gonna say this again, people like Brent make things so entertaining
Oh
because
my
I
God.
would have loved to
the
have been there for that.
the reality
Me
is
too.
I would well it shows that even with that being said, for you to come up with a story that quick on the spot in front of this dude who, and I mean, you sold it quite well because this dude believed you. I could look at you and see that, yeah, I mean, that ain't true.
And he was
But
black.
that's
He
why
that's
yeah,
why.
said, I'm
his car
from
should have been
Nickelodeon.
revoked. His car should have been revoked
Yeah, he
that
was
day.
blackish.
I'm from Nickelodeon.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Just
you
the
got to
fact
think about
you were
right, and you
smart
got to think
enough to
about
think of
something he
something
don't watch.
obscure enough so that he could kind of know what you were talking about without
But
really
then,
being able
right.
to hone in on something very specific about it.
Yeah, you couldn't
Yeah.
say
That's
a Tyler
genius of it
Perry
right there.
show. You couldn't do that. You had to do something he
Right,
don't
yes,
know,
and
don't watch.
then this fool gonna say, "Oh, my son is
I
a fan of
I
yours."
can do
Right.
Brent, you and I can do the bank robbery. We think enough in the same plane. We can go rob the bank. I can't take everybody on that trip.
But here's the thing. He had me. This is the part. This is the best part of the story. He was like, you know what? Oh my God. So you are Kel from Kid and the Kel. I was like, yeah. He was like, can you do that famous line? I
Oh
was
my
like,
God, what famous
okay.
line?
Welcome to
So I
Good Burger
said,
on the
Good
who
burger.
loves orange soda? Kel loves orange soda. It was so stupid. It was so
Oh
dumb.
God,
It was so dumb.
But you were prepared with the full backstory, and I applaud you for that, sir. That's
man.
the sign of true genius.
Yeah, you get an award for that one, bro.
I called my
Tiffany
parents.
Henyard should have came and got you to
She
coach
should have
her
got
before she
me.
did what
Right.
she
She
did.
would not have been arrested.
She would have came back from Europe too.
You know what? I want to. I'm glad you said that. I saw some other stuff today. Today was, like I said, there was a lot going on today. And between today and last night, I don't want to get off into all of that. But I'm so moved by just paying attention to what's real these days. And again, I got to say, Tiffany here, I think Tracy and I were kind of stepping on that quite a bit a couple of weeks ago because there was just the audacity. I saw somebody on Instagram today that said, "Is Audacity on sale this week?" Because somebody
Right.
y'all is, doing certain things. I think what kind of ticks me off, is even in the midst of dealing with Audacity. I think what ticks me off is that there are some women who insist on believing that because they are a woman, they should be able to do whatever they want to do. And I know men like that too, but since we're talking about this particular situation, I think what happened was she was blinded by what she had never had before. She was drunk with power, drunk with, and I say it all the time. If they move a certain way, if there's something going on like they move in that way, then you better believe there's an attitude and a mentality that comes along with that movement. You know what I'm saying? There's something that comes along with that. And I think a lot of times you are so busy trying to put on a show in front of everybody else. You don't care who you step on, you don't care who you hurt, you don't care you don't care. And what I can't stand is these stupid behind females who have this power and this opportunity to do something phenomenal, and then you want everybody to bow to you in the midst of it. And this ain't about being nice. This is about being real. This is the realistic part of it, is that you sitting up here thinking just because you dress a certain way, just because you wear wigs a certain way, you wear your eyelashes a certain way, you wear all that stuff. listen, at the end of the day, what they showed her was you too can get caught.
Yeah.
I
Regardless of
think
your
also,
position,
sorry.
you too can get caught. You too can be put in a situation where you are literally considered a danger to a city. Because financially, if we needed help with something and we needed 3.9 million, guess what? We don't have it because you took it.
Mm.
And that's what's real. Go ahead.
I think what happens, and we talked about it. I think we touched on it this week and last week. Again, when you think you can do it, like just the Walmart guy, he did it once, he did it twice, he did it three.
And he
So he
did
just
it.
started thinking, he did it 90 times, or however many times he did it
He
throughout
did
the
it
month.
88 more times after that.
Exactly, and so you get this God mentality that I'm not going to get caught. And that I got I don't know about the Walmart guy. He just kept doing it because he got away with it. But she apparently, from all the things that have been said, how she was talking about, first of all, I don't even know how she got in that seat at all. Let me just say that. But she had a God mentality. She thought she was invincible. And I think that's where the veil happens with us when we think we got it. When we think we got it, that's just what happens. That's I think that's just human nature. It's just a lot of
Yeah.
us. We got 7 people on here, maybe more than that, that's listening, that are not like that. They has a conscience that says, "Wait, this ain't right. I can't keep doing it, or I just won't ever do this because that's too much for me." But she got
Yeah.
too godly in, and she thought she can do anything. I'm gonna go order a bunch of Amazon. Not gonna get caught. It's not gonna get flagged. I'm gonna come back home. And I may go back out again. No, she had a
I
God
Oh,
think
mentality.
she not going back out. She
yeah.
in. She
I
Right.
think a
ain't
lot
going
of
back out.
I think a lot
No,
of
I'm talking
times,
about flying out, but yeah, I'm not sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we get lazy and we start slacking.
Yeah.
One thing that I do remember too off of Goodfellas, the movie, is once they actually made that big heist, he kept telling them, "Do not make big purchases."
Yep.
Yeah.
This dude came in there with a mink coat. The other dude came in with a Cadillac, a pink Cadillac for his wife. He like, bring it back. Didn't I tell you not to make? Because now you got the heat on you, and I
They
think
did the
that's what.
same thing.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
think
Go ahead.
I think we get. I think people like that they get lazy. We're supposed to be creatures of habits, but if you're doing something continuously and you think it's working, sometimes you drop the ball, and then that's when you get caught.
American Gangster did the same thing when Denzel Washington's wife bought him that mink coat with the hat,
The
and they
hat.
went to go watch that boxing match, and the cops was like, "Yeah, look at him," And then when they finally pulled him over, he went and burnt that hat. He told his brother, he was like, "Take the glasses off." He was like, "Don't nobody make no more contacts to me. You want to talk to me? You go through Huey. Huey, you come to me. You get it? You get it?
Mhm.
Don't make no, because what ends up happening is the loudest one is in the room is normally the brokest one, the least confident one, you
Yeah.
know,
You've been
and
you've been rocking with a bus pass all this time. Now all of a sudden you got a Mercedes.
well, let me tell you what, and
Same
this
thing
is again, we're going back to reality. The reality of it is that there are a lot of people that think just because they look good at a certain point that people are supposed to bow down to them. If you're in a seat where you're supposed to bow down, if she was talking to them people like they were dogs with suits on, she was
God
being
is real.
disrespectful. But at the end of the day, nobody was again, I say when they told me you took 3 point something $1 million, right? And you got arrested and they go back and get what you bought, the stuff that you purchased, I'm like, golly, you could have went to jail for something way more expensive than that. You looking like
Amazon.
tinfoil, with sleeves, walking around here. Like I said, Amazon or whatever. They didn't say, and they also said that she was funneling a fraudulent account through the city.
Mm.
So she was using the city's credit to go and have a whole nother, so the taxpayers or people that were paying for permits or anything in the city, when money came along, they literally were sending it to that account in which was going right to her bank account.
So then
That's
she
So it was
actually
no
took.
different than them walking up to her and just handing her money. That's
So,
really what was
so,
going
So
on.
so
she's
it was
also
more than
dumb.
three point
Okay.
nine million.
no, she
Huh?
went dumb.
So it was more than 3.9 million that she took.
No, 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 no. It was well. This okay. So this is what they're saying. They counted. We don't really know the full amount. We don't know. because if they were funneling it, then they were probably only counting what they could count. But if they were funneling it somewhere else, yeah, she made more than that.
Got
You're
more.
exactly right. She made more than that because
What you drinking,
that's what it is.
Prince?
So
Water.
wait a
Oh.
minute. Well, you got three red cups. Hold on, sister.
Exactly.
Ain't no
Right.
water. Ain't no water that heavy.
Water in that.
Ain't no water that heavy.
Mhm.
She drinking some stuff that's soaked through the cups.
Reverend,
She's sipping,
Reverend,
boy.
Reverend. Well, the Bible says, as often as ye do this.
Terrence, you know what? You have done this for years, and that Bible
Absolutely.
is not talking about what we talking about.
It, listen,
It never has.
you can apply the context however you
Look at-
choose to. I'm simply
Brent.
quoting the scripture.
She's
Brent
sipping.
said,
Apply it to your hearts and govern yourselves accordingly. That's all I say.
Hey, y'all. 9/11 is today, actually.
23 years ago.
And it was actually 23 years ago when I think the world was realizing that we are not as protected as we thought we were. And I look at this, and Terrence knows I'm pretty maybe somebody all on this channel, but we all lost somebody who was in that World Trade Center
Mhm.
catastrophe that took place. And tonight is a night that we just want to say to everybody, if you lost somebody in 9/11, if you know somebody who knows somebody that was in 9/11, we just send our condolences to everybody 23 years later, and it still feels like it just happened yesterday.
I have
Every time we
memories of just how that day unfolded.
I think we all do. I think the funny part about 9/11 was you didn't have to be near New York to feel what New York was going through. That was the funny thing. I was
We
all the
could
way on the
see
other
it
side of the
and
world, and on the West Coast in Oakland, we were watching it on TV, and it felt like we were literally standing right next to the World Trade Center.
And your mom at that moment was in Japan.
She was stuck in Japan. She couldn't come home. It was, and she wasn't the only one. There was a bunch of people that wanted to come home that could not come home because of that. So 9/11 was 9/11 was very much so something that we have to be very conscious of the fact that at this point, it's a sad time, and rebuilding does not take away the pain of what was damaged.
No.
It doesn't. I understand we tried to move forward. But going into New York and going at somebody who was born and raised there, not seeing that skyline be the way it is,
bro. It's
never going to be the same. It's never going to be the same.
Even
and
with
what kills me is
Freedom Tower being there again.
I don't. It doesn't fill the hole. It doesn't. Not even metaphorically or
and even when you see
actually.
movies that had it on there, it's like, dang, bro.
Would you believe that literally, I think it was maybe about 6 years ago, was the first time since it happened that I actually visited Ground Zero.
I believe it. I haven't been there since it happened.
I
haven't been there.
Just again, because the emotion of the day was so impactful for me, I just could not bring myself to go there. And I know for some people, that was part of their process. And literally, I went in the middle of the night. I was driving Uber at the time, and one of my Ubers had brought me into the city for whatever reason. And so I was over there. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm here. And I went over to the, to the reflecting pools and stuff like that. And I'm saying to myself, because I remember clearly about 10 years or so before it happened, y'all know, some of you know my cousin Dwight. Kevin and Avery, you may remember this well. Even Brent, you might recall this. There used to be a radio station in our area called CD 101.9.
Oh, yes.
They used to do these jazz things at lunchtime on Wednesdays. Me and
it was at the World Trade Center.
Went over there, and we were there. And again, this is 10 years before. This is even before the first attack on the world. Because remember, there was another attack where they attempted to bring it down, but thank God it did not do anything to the building. But we went over there, and I remember standing there in between these two massive buildings. And in my mind, I said, "My God, if these buildings ever fell, what would that be like?" Not even in the wildest
Oh, so
imagination.
this was all your fault. You
He
asked, and
we
that's
put
what
it
it
in the
was your fault.
atmosphere.
Yeah, you did that. Mhm.
See, this is the problem. Y'all always blame the black man. It's always the black man. They
You
always
just told on yourself, black man.
no.
Yeah,
But
you're the reason why
point
it
is
happened.
that it was just one of those surreal moments where you're sitting there looking at this, and then I had to put myself understanding that context of standing between these two buildings in the plaza, and then put myself in the context of what it must have been like to be there that day when pieces of plane and pieces of building were falling off. There's a young lady that's a member of Mount Olive. She worked for what was it? Not Goldman Sachs. What's the name of the company she works for? The like a Price Waterhouse. It may not have been that name, but them. Deloitte. That's what it was. Deloitte. So she was in 5 World Trade Center. Her office was in 5 World Trade Center. She was there that day, and one thing that she said that always stuck out to her was the sounds of the bodies hitting the ground from people that decided they were going to jump, and just hearing that sound multiple times that she was trying to get to. Thank God, obviously she is alive and well, and so she was able to, get out of there, okay. But just hearing her tell, just that little snippet of what it was like to be in that space during those moments, it sends chills up my spine every time I think about it.
Well,
It's
my
crazy.
black man senses kicked in because I skipped school that day. I was in college, and I literally thought the rapture had came out. So I tried to call as many people as I could, and the phones wasn't working. So I was freaked out, bro. I'm like, because you remember all of the lines were off.
Yeah.
I couldn't reach nobody.
And this is 2001. The cell
Yes, I
phone
was literally
not,
in college. Yeah,
it was not it was not the norm that it is now. They were around, but they weren't quite, the norm that they are now.
But I saw on TV people were falling out the
I
building.
was on the phone with your grandfather. What happened Monday the 10th was the first night of Bible school.
Wow.
And I had gone to Bible school, and he was encouraging me, I was glad to see you there and everything like that. And literally, while he was talking to me, I'm looking at the TV, and all of a sudden, Good Morning America wasn't there anymore. And I saw this picture from the helicopter of the one of the World Trade Towers and smoke. And so first thing I'm saying, okay, building caught on fire. And, I really wasn't, reading anything into it. Then as I'm watching, I see a plane crash into it. And my first thing was, oh, this must be what happened. That's why the building is on fire. Then my brain processed said, wait a minute. There's smoke, and now you see a plane, and there's still smoke. The smoke was already there. So I'm like, wait, what? And so literally your Bishop, and I'll say this in love, your grandfather could kind of go get on a tangent with a conversation. He was gone. And I said, Bishop, Bishop, something is happening. I think you need to turn your television on and see what's going on. I'm gonna talk to you later.
On that brown couch.
You got into, again, learning about everything that was happening in the real time, not having the context of knowing what was about to happen.
But it's scary because where you live at in Patterson,
yes,
you could literally see it. You could see everything off of Route 3. Like,
yes,
that's the scary thing, man.
I think with even being in Oakland, I think again, as I said
it was
before,
6
one
o'clock
of
in the
the
morning for you because you were on the East Coast, West Coast.
yeah, it was early, but people wake up early in the morning, and so when I got the call, it was I just went to the TV, and the first thing I said to was a guy named Charles that called my house. He said, "Man, the World Trade Center's on fire." I said, "Man, they forever trying to do something to them buildings. I ain't about to get up for that." He was like, "I don't think it's the same thing." And what made me know that this wasn't the same type of attack was the fact that it wasn't coming from the bottom this time; it was from the top.
Yeah.
So the first building had already gotten hit. So when I looked, I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm thinking somebody must have had a stove on or something. Something happened, just whatever."
Yeah.
And when that plane hit, the second plane hit, I was literally just jacked up. And so I knew this wasn't the same. But when that first building fell, I could not move. It looks like a movie from a TV.
It
Like
really
it
did.
was. It was. I could not move. So I'm stunned. The moment I tried to move, a second building fell.
Yep.
Now, right after that, we had to come and be over there to do an event at the Apollo. And when we were flying over there, everybody was making noise on that plane the whole 5 hours we was on that plane until we got right next to New York, landing in Newark Airport. And when we were landing and saw that world, yo, when I tell you the only thing was the engines, nobody said a word. And this was a few weeks afterwards. Nobody said a word. So I think where I'm at with it, like you said, just the thud of the bodies. I remember they were showing people up there who
They were jumping for that.
literally that were jumping out.
Oh, God,
And
that thing was
Terrence, a lot
scary.
of people still don't understand that there was a man that was on the top of one of the buildings. Don't know why he was up there, but this man held on to something at the top of the roof and he rolled the building down.
Good God.
Literally, he rolled the building down. And when they came, that the only thing that was wrong with him was both his legs were broken. That was it. He never, like, he didn't die. But I'm thinking, my father took me up there when I was 10 years old. I'll never forget this. And when we got to the top, yeah. And I went over and I put my hand on the window and my father nudged me like he was pushing me out. He only did it like soft, scared the mess out of me. So I know if I was scared to be up there and I was protected, just imagine what it's like being on the outside. You looking at all this smoke, you holding onto a rail and riding a falling building down to the ground.
To the
And the
ground.
only thing that happens to you was your legs were broken. That's huge. So I just wanted to put that pin in there and just say for everybody, for 9/11, who was on here and who have been part of that, whether you were near it or away from it, it affected so many people. As Terrence said, my mother was stuck in Japan. She couldn't even come home for days. And she finally made it home. And I ain't never been so scared for my mother in my life. But when she got back to Newark, I was like, I don't care how dirty that airport is. You better kiss the floor when you get there.
And I remember she came straight to church, bro.
Yeah,
and your sister
she
got off them drums and ran to your mom. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah. So Scott, you all right, man?
Hey y'all, yeah. Trying to grade this work. My lord.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's like to be a classroom teacher.
Tomorrow, like he could use a drink.
You're heading out tomorrow, right?
I'm sorry?
You're heading out tomorrow or Friday?
Friday.
Yeah. Well, that's that. So 9/11 again, we just want to tell everybody we're pretty much we're standing with everybody. This has just been this day, it's like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all these holidays. Some of these holidays are not good times for some people.
You already know me, bro.
There's some of them are not good times for people. Some of these holidays are not holidays. They're not good moments, and they're not, it doesn't feel good. So this 9/11 thing doesn't feel good to people who have been affected. Even if you weren't there, it doesn't feel good. This is not a holiday. It's not a time when we should all, feel great about it. It's hard for people.
It's funny you say that. I was talking to my coworker this morning, and she was saying that her son said to her, "Oh yeah, it's just 9/11. There's gonna be memes and all kinds of stuff up." And ironically enough, I haven't seen a lot of stuff posted today. I guess because of the debate last night. But when she said that, she was like, it took her a minute because she said I was almost angry with him. She said, but then I had to realize he wasn't around when it happened. So they have a different perspective of what 9/11 is.
Yeah.
And this morning at our school, we always do patriotic events. And so we had the presentation and I was one of the speakers. And I had to tell the students, I was like, 23 years ago, while I work here now, 23 years ago, I was a student here, and I sat where you're sitting. Life was totally different. I was like, Google didn't exist. We didn't have a cell phone that we could pick up and just type in, go on the internet, and find out what was going on. We were hearing this information basically through either people calling in and telling us what they were watching on TV, or somebody plugging the TV in on campus so that we could see it. And it really became surreal today. Like, these kids really have no clue.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, they have no clue and they aren't privy to the fact of, and that's a very good point. When you are not, used to a certain thing, you don't know how to treat it,
Right.
and when you're not there, when you weren't there, I mean, to see those people jumping out of those buildings trying to save themselves. That I mean, some people look at it and go, man, I wouldn't have did that. You know what? You don't know what you would have done. You have
Sure
no
don't.
clue to
No
be in
clue
a
what's going.
building, but
Right.
right to be in a building where they're shooting or having planes that are hitting a building, and you're
There's smoke.
above where the plane hit. You're
There's,
above where the plane hit,
there's
and
smoke.
there's smoke everywhere. There's debris. There's all kinds of stuff. You don't know what you would do. And I bet you what, they didn't know what they would do either. They just did what they thought might help, but at the end of the day, they plummeted to their death. So we just want to tell everybody again, those who will watch this later on, if you guys will, whoever sees this, again, we honor those who lost loved ones in 9/11. It was a very serious situation. So on this other note, Brent, where you at, man? I don't get your take on this. Where you at?
I
Are
just
you
want
still?
to go back there and play that piano that's sitting behind her. It looks beautiful.
Oh,
I'm right
Tracy.
here.
Hey, Brent.
Go back there and play that piano.
That's
Hey,
funny.
hey, Brent. So I'm gonna ask you this question, man. I got to get yours first. I'm sure everybody else. Yeah, Tanya, if you can mute your phone because your hands are like phenomenal on the keyboard. We can hear all of it.
I thought it was my
Um,
computer. I was about to say, what is happening?
yeah, no, she was typing over there.
Gotcha.
Let's go to this real quick. Hey, Brent. So, what do you feel about what do you feel about the artists of yesterday's music and today's music? What do you feel? Where in your heart do you feel things are right
Can you qualify that before he answers? Are we talking about a specific genre, or are we just talking about
now? We're
music artists?
talking about,
Honestly,
back
it
in the
don't
day.
even matter, bro.
No,
Straight
listen,
up.
listen,
It don't.
listen. We're talking about
He
the
rocking back and
persona
forth like an
of
old geek because
yesterday.
he got something to say.
We're talking about the
Yeah.
persona of yesterday and today. Now, Brent, before you answer, Terrence, let's go back to the 50s and 60s, right? I'm talking about videos. I ain't talking about nobody's age. Let's just talk about the videos that we see or the movies that we're seeing. Back in the day, everybody had talent. Everybody. Back in the day, everybody. I saw Sammy Davis Jr. tap dancing. Then I saw Sammy Davis Jr. singing. I was unaware till about maybe 19, 20 years ago that Sammy Davis Jr. was one of the greatest drummers that ever lived.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
What?
One of
He
the
was a
greatest
drummer.
drummers that
Yes.
ever lived. One of the greatest drummers that ever lived. Everybody
He
was
played
looking
like
at
Buddy
Buddy
Rich.
Rich.
Yep.
Everybody was looking at Buddy Rich. But what they didn't know was that Buddy Rich got a lot from Sammy Davis Jr.
Yep.
Yep.
Had no clue
Yo,
when
AJ,
what
you know another one? James Brown.
James
Brown was a
Brown,
drummer
let me
too.
tell you, James Brown, the reason why James Brown could tell drummers how to play was because he was one.
Yep. Same thing
That
with
was
the
the only
horns.
reason why.
Every
When
instrument he had in his
exactly.
band, he could play.
He
So
tuned the
so
drums.
when
Right.
you look at that persona, that's why I asked Brent the question. When you look at that, they came from an era where everybody had talent, and it wasn't just talent, everybody was gifted.
Multi.
Everybody wasn't just talented. Everybody was gifted. Everybody. When I look at Nat King Cole, right?
Mm,
When I sat there and watched that man play, I did not know that Oscar Peterson was watching him the whole time.
oh yes,
Yeah.
Did not
oh
know.
yes.
When you look at George Duke, he could stand with the best of them. But George Duke was a Herbie Hancock fan. I saw George Duke
Yeah.
bow in front of Herbie Hancock. So that's talking about Brent. Now you know the era that you came from. But and I can ask Tanya this too, and I'm gonna ask Tracy. I'm gonna ask them three. Because we Scott, Terrence, we know what
I'm
we
gonna
are.
stay out of this one.
Yeah, I think I am too. So Brent, I'm gonna let you go first, and I'm gonna get Tanya. Then Tracy, you gonna talk tonight. Tracy, you gonna talk tonight. You're not getting away tonight. You gonna talk tonight.
I've been talking.
Um, but
I,
you observe more than you talk. Brent,
when
go
he
ahead,
was in
man. We're gonna
quiet, I be quiet, but when he leave, I be talking again.
yeah. Hey, Brent, we're gonna
Right.
turn our mics off. So go ahead. We're not gonna interrupt you. Go ahead. But try to do it within maybe 2 minutes. Go ahead. You got 2 minutes to 2 church minutes. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Two
2 church
church.
minutes. Okay, that's all I need. What do I think about yesterday's music and today's music? I think that there's a lack of musicianship. I think there's a lack of education. I think there's a lack of music theory. I think there's a lack of the art of musicianship. And I think now it's just about what's catchy, what's popular, who's sexy. Everybody got BBLs from the women and the men. And so it's about who ass is the biggest and who's gonna be the most risque. And so now it's more so about like our parents' music back in the day, it was very risque, but because they knew the English language and they knew the art of wordplay, they didn't just they put it all out there, but you had to really read or learn the lyrics to understand what they were really talking about.
Absolutely.
Today,
Absolutely.
they are just what you see is what you get. I'm just gonna put it all out and just accept me as I am. Here's the problem with that. We can accept you as who you are, but at the end of the day, once we pull that layer back, who are you? You don't even know who you are. And at the end of the day, you sold your soul just for popularity or for an award or for a Grammy or for, whatever the case, an Oscar or whatever else or an EGOT or whatever like that. And at the end of the day, your music has no depth, it has no story, it has no nothing. It just talks about you being a slut that you are, and it just has a good beat to it. But then it also talks about everybody is sampling everything. So it tells me that nobody is really doing their homework on musicianship, because nothing is original. The thing that separates people from yesteryears and today is that yesteryears they had nothing. They had to rely on skill, talent, and
Absolutely. That's right.
education.
That's right.
Today,
That's
they
right.
just they just copy what they heard or what they have not heard in a long time, and they just put a new beat with it and get a new producer and show some ass, and now they're millionaires. And so it's just about, I think most of our and actually I feel like the best singers and the best music are underground artists who are singing at
That's right.
Apache or
That's right.
the underground or
That's right.
at
That's right.
BBQ, not BBQs, but what is that restaurant with
BB
uh
King.
BB King's and at
Yeah.
the one with Valerie Simpson and all that kind of stuff. That is where you really find who really got the skills and who really got whatever. But because they operate in a different realm, they're not going to be popular. People don't get it. They say, "Oh, that's boring. Oh, that's not catchy. That's not this. That's not that." But at the end of the day, I can't really say that there is anyone, well, one person who really in today's generation really knows the art of what it takes back in the day. Well, two people, and that is, well, maybe a few people. That's Samara Joy, that is Lettucey, that is Jasmine Sullivan, and that is also who else?
Brent,
Somebody else I can
have you heard somebody named Alex Isley?
Isaac, yeah, but she comes from a legacy of
Isley Brothers. Yeah.
her family is the Isley brothers. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And even let's take it here to gospel music. They just trying to sample R&B stuff and put Jesus here and there.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, okay, so you look dumb. You sound stupid. And then everybody's trying to in the gospel world, let's take it here. In the gospel world, everybody's trying to sound like Brandy or Kim Burrell.
Facts.
Uh-huh.
You know? Uh, but the real singers are those opera singers and country music. Don't
Samara
agree?
Joy, Samara Joy to me is somebody that I
Sarah
really did
Vaughan.
not believe could be produced again. I didn't. And for her to be as
Samara is
young as
our
she
version of Billie
is,
Holiday.
as to be as young as she is and singing with such a mature approach to this music is uncanny. Every time I put her music on, I literally see Harlem Nights.
Yep.
Every
Yeah.
time I put her music on, I'm literally watching, Quincy Jones Back on the Block album when he had Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah
Yep.
Vaughan and
Mhm.
all them people. We don't have anything like that. Brent, I appreciate you. Tanya, go ahead because Tracy last. So Tanya, you go ahead.
I agree with everything that Brent said. He's absolutely right. I think what happened was we stopped listening and we started watching, so we got more visual, right? So now we got people who don't. It sounds a mess. There's no depth. There's no story, as Brent mentioned. And now we're so fascinated by their entire world, or the world that they let us in on, or the world they create, right? And so now they're a star because of that. Because I'm trying to understand and still trying to understand how Sexy Red has gotten through the thread of all this thing, right? And she's got fans and she's got all, and I'm just like, you I don't even want to say what she looks like. But anyway, so the whole thing, that whole thing and that whole era, I think it became with visuals. We as consumers stopped hearing and demanding what we want to hear, and allowed our ears to hear this foolishness, and it kept going and kept going. Now it's a trend, and so now that's why you have issues like Samara Joy, who can't come out because she's itching away trying to get out of this hole, because we stopped listening. We as a whole, not everybody, but we as a whole have stopped listening to people who have depth, who has a story, who has clarity. There's some musicianship there. There's some some history and maybe their story of music or whatever. So it's I believe what happened is that when visuals started coming, social media started coming, it started to tune us from hearing to now seeing, right? More seeing it, and the world started liking what they were seeing and accepting that, and now you can give us all the trash and we'll take it because that's what it is. You know what I mean? So I think that it's sad, but for those who know music theory and know, what that is, we know who to listen to and what not to give light to. But it's far and few between, unfortunately.
Can I just attack someone while you're there?
You wasn't supposed to say nothing, but go ahead.
I was gracious and I let two people speak and I shut my mouth. Um, it goes back even further than social media. It really goes back to the end of the 70s and the beginning of the 80s, because that is when the world got
Computer era. That's right.
not even computer, the idea
Yeah.
and the notion of a music video. That's really
Mm-hmm.
Well,
when
yeah, but
that
That's
was
right.
birthed. And so again, when you got into that era, now to your point, it becomes more about the visual than about the quality of the vocal. Added to the fact that technology has given us things like auto tune, so someone that is as off as Donald Trump can sound like an Ella Fitzgerald.
That's true.
So
So
true.
those are just components. I just wanted to add that in there. All right, I'm
I
sorry.
agree. I
and
agree.
and I'm gonna let Tracy talk. But you know what? There was a group. I'm gonna find out who they are. But there was a group. You all know this song. The song entitled was "Video Killed the Radio Star." Right? It's a white group. I forgot they're from London somewhere. And basically they were telling us that when videos started coming out, uh, there was this thing called video hot tracks on Friday night. They used to come on at midnight
Mm-hmm.
on Channel 7, and it would come to a point where it was like we were so fixated on that, but see, we still listened to radio at that time too. And what we were doing was we had to listen to radio so we would know what to look for on a video on Friday
Video.
night.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how that was, but that stuff went away, so much. And Tracy, you can go ahead with the now things of now things, but with the now technology, there's things that we're learning about people that we really shouldn't know.
That is true.
There's a lot of stuff that we are seeing that I don't want to know what
It's too
kind of
much
toothpaste you're
information.
using. I don't
Right.
want to know, what kind of grease you're using for your hair or whatever. I don't need to know all of that. I
No,
just all I
They,
know about you is you know. Go ahead, Tracy. Go ahead. I ain't want to take
I,
your time. Go
the
ahead.
name of the group is the Buggles.
There you go. Go
I
ahead,
think
Tracy.
what happened is people stop listening to records. Listen to the records. We have iTunes and we have Spotify and there's some other platforms and things like that. But people are not listening to records. Like you said, they're watching these videos and everybody wants to be this YouTube person and this this trendy person of whatever it takes to do that. And people are looking, but they're not listening. So it's almost as if we're in this mind mush of just staring, you know, just like we're not listening, we're not paying attention, we're just staring at the stuff that's moving on the screen, and whatever's moving on the screen and is has the flashiest colors and the brightest buttons and all of that stuff, then that's what we're attracted to. And it's just become an absolute mess to where our minds are all twisted and messed up. I don't know if anybody else experiences this, but I'm a very sensitive person, so I have to make sure sometimes what I listen to and what I watch don't affect me, because I'll come home from work and I'll just be mentally off. And I have to tell people, I said, I watched something and I can't narrow it down. So I have to start just like Xing out stuff that I've watched, because something is twisted and it's messed me up emotionally and mentally. And I have to figure out what was it. And so then I said, okay, well, I can't watch you anymore. And it sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's entertaining, but there's something else that's attached to it that's
Yeah,
just not right, and it messes me up mentally and
That's because you're
emotionally.
spiritual.
it
Yes,
is
it's
very
very, and
spiritual.
I'm so sensitive that I have to be very careful of what I watch and what I listen to. And I have to be, it's a gift, but it's also very annoying because everybody else around me can watch this stuff and they can be attached to this stuff. And I just can't even walk in a room where it is. And I'm like, oh man, now I'm all messed up. What in the world was it?
That's because your spirit
Um,
is sensitive, and the
Right.
thing
yeah,
is, what people fail to
yes,
realize is Satan is the prince of the air. So
Yep.
that
mm-hmm,
means music, that means social media, that means
yes.
video. So he's
TV.
controlling everything that's going around in the air. And so now it's kind of like the place in the Bible where it talks about the Tower of Babel, where
Mm-hmm,
their language was now messed up. So now
Uh-huh.
we're
mm-hmm.
in a place right now where everybody they don't have an education. The lyrics is horrible. You don't even know what they're saying. They mumbling, and everything is just chaotic. So
Yes,
that's
it
the
is.
world that we're living in right now.
Can I be honest with you though?
I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can I be honest with you though? With that whole thing with the lyrics, it's funny. I taught a workshop Monday night, dealing with pastors, and understanding the relationship between the pulpit and the piano. And we talked about that, and I said there's so many. They were like, "Well, we like the sounds of the old music because old music had value." I said some of that stuff didn't have value either. And I was like, let me step outside of the gospel realm for a minute. Can we look, and you mentioned the names before? I said, and the song is a catchy song, but when you hear songs like "If you can't be with the one you love, love the one you with," that is toxic.
Toxic.
It is
Yep.
very
It
toxic.
is toxic. I'm like, but we would jam it to it because it had a good groove to it. I said it's no different than what's happening in the church right now. I said, and unfortunately, it's creeping into the church because we got less spiritual people sitting at the instruments and less spiritual people that are directing. I was like, but the whole concept of language is real.
It's real.
And I said, it's not just because I'm an English teacher, but it's because I actually pay attention to the message behind the song. What is the song about? Who was it? Andre 3000, or was it either him or Cisco? One of them that put out the song, and everybody, oh, Andre 3000, everybody bopping to it. Hey y'all,
Yeah.
everybody bopping to it. But that song is about a breakup, and he was depressed. I'm
It's
like,
the
because we never
spirit
paid attention
behind the
to the
song.
verses.
Right. Last two
Listen,
dollars was
there's there,
about bad money management.
Right.
Right.
And we just, that's not cool.
It's
But
not.
if you put, and what I like to say is it's which language, because what
Yeah.
they're doing is
That's
they're
good.
having you to sing a certain thing over top of yourself, and you just keep singing it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, some gospel music that's like that too.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
There is.
Yes, ma'am.
And
And
it's
you
funny.
you start saying, give and everything else. Okay, all right then.
Yeah, I'm not
Well,
down with these chants at all. I'm not down with
Me
these
at
chants
all.
at all. I'm not down with them.
you're
Go
making
ahead,
a
Tanya.
mistake.
What was you saying?
It's funny that you said that because that was where I was going to kind of go to too. Because if you're thinking about again, we started with hearing music. Now we're getting more visuals, and now like even in like with Tashi Wasta song, whatever by what's her name, Megan the Stallion, right? So you don't know
Mhm.
what you saying, you don't know what language you say, you don't know what that means, right? So you got to be very careful. Then they using hand gestures and all that, and and
Mm-hmm.
it's so easy to catch on and so easy to say well everybody else is doing, so now here I am doing it, right? But that's so conniving of the enemy to try to change our brains from not just hearing but try to get all of our senses. Let me say that
Mm-hmm.
all of our senses from visual to hearing to now we want to go get BBLs. Now we got our bodies got to look a certain way, whatever. But it's funny that you say that. Funny stories that every time I fall asleep, Kevin and I could have a nap or something, and we could be watching something funny because I can't watch nothing dark, and I can't fall asleep on nothing dark. But I could wake up and like, oh my god, I just had a dream. I was doing some karate, and I wake up and like, he's watching karate, or or had a dream I was getting body slammed because he was watching wrestling. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I guess my mind, my subconscious can hear and
Mm-hmm.
feel some of that stuff. It's scary. Like it's almost scary to me, honestly. Like I can't. It has to be something light and fluffy on TV in
Yes,
order for me, and I can tell when it's off, and I can tell when it's on. I can't do
yes,
dark stuff.
yes.
I just can't. It's kind of
It
funny,
got
but it's
to
not funny.
it's gotten
But
to a point where I never watched Martin at all. I thought Martin Lawrence was not ever funny. I never thought he was funny. But I started
Wait, you
watching it,
said
and
who?
I'm sorry, Scott. I'm one
You said
person.
wait, who wasn't funny?
I said Martin
Martin.
Lawrence was funny. Listen. I said Martin Lawrence wasn't funny to me. I say he wasn't funny. He wasn't funny to me. But now to add to that, the more I watched it, now you can't keep me from watching it.
Oh,
So now
okay.
you
Okay. You just
can
redeemed yourself.
sit back and relax. Now you all
Scared me
right.
a little
You all
bit,
right.
bro.
Yeah.
Avery,
No,
you
I didn't. I
disappeared for
didn't.
a minute.
I didn't think he was funny because if it wasn't Eddie Murphy, I didn't. Everybody has their
Okay, I
favorite
can
team,
respect
right?
that.
Okay.
I can
If you
respect
Okay.
if
that.
if
I'll
you
give you
if
that.
it wasn't Eddie Murphy, I get picked out a lot about it. I don't care what nobody say, but Eddie
No, I
Murphy
can
to me,
respect that.
there is nobody before and after him. That's just listen.
Well, before
I'm with
Everybody
you on that, bro.
listen, ain't everybody ain't for everybody.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
for
But
sure.
when I watch this stuff, it's like music, right? And I made that point to make this one. It's like music. Like I think Prince was one of the greatest doggone musicians known to man. That's why everybody liked him because Prince didn't
Yes,
need
she
you.
was.
He
Prince
paid everything.
Prince didn't need you. But the thing about it, there's a song that Prince has that never had a bass line. You understand what I'm saying? Like you got to be a genius to have that. Actually, there's two songs that Prince did that never had a bass line. There's two. Tracy, thank you. We'll see you later. I was trying to get off a little bit earlier so you can stay on, but we still going late. So we'll see you later. See you next week.
I'm gonna
Have a
go
good day.
too.
Good.
No time. You're gonna stay right there. So uh um
What
Prince
songs
had
were these?
a song called, first of all, Kiss never had a bass line.
You want to
You
say kiss
probably
the
never
Evans
jumped
yeah.
up it.
That's true.
And When Doves Cry does not have a bass line.
Does not.
You're right. It doesn't.
So
Do,
that's what you gotta
Yeah.
understand.
Wow.
They
Rhythm
never had
guitar,
a bass line.
rhythm guitar in both cases.
Yep.
They never had a bass line at all. So when I thought about that, I was like, what kind of person did you have to be to tap into something so profound where, especially when your audience more so is black, if we ain't got no bass, we ain't got no music. And so you have that situation where you tapped in to something so profound that you can take something away from our culture and still have us buying it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And you have to know that's how influential that is. Black people gotta have drums and a bass guitar. I'm telling you, if we ain't got no bass and something's wrong with us. If we don't have, those particular instruments. And so that's what that means, that you have to tap into something. There's something that you have to see. And a lot of it doesn't just come through tapping into something, but a lot of it comes through consistency.
Mhm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
I noticed So when I don't sit at this keyboard and I'm not making music for like weeks on end, it's because I'm distracted with everything else. And if I don't
Right.
sit there, I literally have to go back and relearn how to arm tracks. That's how long I ain't been doing it,
Yeah, I feel you
But
on that, bro.
the more you do it, the more you do it, the more you do it, the more you do it. You don't need help. My first time that I recorded something, I went out of studio. I was at Terrence's house. He was downstairs in the basement. Terrence, what keyboard was that Yamaha that you had? What one was it?
SY55.
Yeah, the SY55. And he was putting tracks up, and we figured it out. He showed it to me, and I started doing it. I didn't know that was going to be a prelude to now I could set up 150 tracks and make a whole orchestra session. Like I didn't,
That's the one with the
it was,
floppy disk.
but did that
Yeah.
one have a floppy? Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, and it was cool. But my point is that this is the musicianship that we're talking about. Tanya will tell you, I am the biggest fan of Hans Zimmer right now. I'm probably
Oh
the biggest.
yes, Lord. Oh yes, Lord.
But here's the thing. What I look at and see with Hans Zimmer is your mind has to be split in 900,000 different ways to where you have to where you have 100 cellos, 100 violins, 100 violas, 100 contrabasses, 10 oboes, and 20 flutes, and you just oh, by the way, then you got a bass guitar and drums and lead guitars on, to incorporate all of that. That is musicianship. Whereas a lot of these kids now, I ain't gonna lie, man. I was listening to a song the other day. I put it on, and unfortunately, Avery, it was Alex Isley, and I put the song on, and when I put the song on, we were driving down the street, and I was bored as crap. I was like, that song is depressing the crap out of me.
Which song was it, bro?
I can't even tell you what song it was. I guess it was a cross between a ballad and a mid tempo, but it was the sounds that they were using. They were so like it was draining the blood from my veins.
Well, she's only
And
good with Jack Reiner, so that.
Listen, but whoever she's a part of that now generation.
Yeah.
Song is only 2 minutes long, and it's like they creating this space. And I went right over and I put Shining Star on, and that thing snapped me out of whatever trance I was in at the time. It snapped me out of it because that music was wearing me out. I can't stand that music. It don't have no depth to it. And Travis Scott was out here, and I don't know if y'all remember when he was like the talk of summer last summer. And he was going up on the stage, and he had his microphone. He was like, yeah. Like he was saying it, and then he was telling the people, don't worry about going to hell. You're already there.
Yeah, a lot of people got
God's
hurt
not coming back to
from
you. Yeah. And I sat up there and I said, he said what? And the whole time he got these upside down crosses burning in these LED screens. And I was like, see, what y'all don't know is a beat does not create a moment of solitude. It creates a moment of being overtaken. You become oppressed by a demon when you listen to some of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so when Prince was doing this, I was like, if y'all mad at was Prince talking about, Darling Nick and all of that, okay, well, if that's all you got to talk about, then we ain't got nothing to talk about. Because, I think you were mad at Prince because he was strong enough to tell you, I see you. That ain't your wife. That ain't your husband. Like he was catching you.
Great.
But Frankie Beverly, shouldn't have said his name because I'm already getting emotional. But even with Before I Let Go, phenomenal beat, everybody electric slide into it. But it's a song about breaking up.
Yep.
And Reasons too. People, but they sing it at weddings.
Yeah. Reasons. You singing Reasons at a wedding, and you literally, we're talking about unifying and joining these people together. You're talking about breaking up. After the love is gone.
Yep.
That's about us leaving each other. We done now, Terrence. Every time that song come on, we always say, "All right, the bishops are walking it now."
Man, that song remind me of "Lord, I'm Available to You."
That's where Carlos Moody got it from. That's it. He got it from there. That's where he comes. So, at the end of the day,
I want Brent to say "Good Burger" for me.
Can I be honest with you?
Brent to do what?
want you to say Good Burger. Welcome to Good Burger.
Home of the good burger.
Can I
Make
take
may I
the
take the order?
I'm no longer Kale, you know.
That was in 2007.
Scott, were you on when he was telling the story?
Uh-uh.
Oh, you
Oh,
we'll
that's
fill
My
you
right.
man
in.
was a
What
Go
was your
celebrity.
watch the
what was your
replay.
name?
Go watch. No,
watch
go watch the replay. Go
It's
watch the replay. Because
unbelievable.
when you see it,
You will be on the floor.
here's the thing.
Be somewhere near
You're gonna,
oxygen. You're gonna need it.
here's the thing. You're gonna hear it, and it's not gonna shock you because of who's telling you.
Well,
Got
that
it.
part.
So just understand.
I
You'll
mean,
It does-
now, is that what you think of me, Kevin?
No, that's what I know of you.
Well, you know, it's okay. I'm gonna let you slide.
I
'cause
want
you
y'all.
know.
I want y'all to say. I'm telling you this. I know you don't have to say about it. I want y'all to
Cool. But back to what we were
shit
talking
is
about
not
with the
built.
music. I said to my
Yeah.
girlfriend,
Oh,
there were a couple of songs that she was like, "This
I'm
got to
talking
be
about.
played."
Go ahead. Go ahead.
She was like, "This got to be played at our wedding." I'm like, and one of them is "Meet Me at the Altar." I hate that song.
That's the worst song in the world.
I
We
can't
ain't getting
stand
no
that
younger,
song.
so let's no.
But we might as well
She was
do
like, "You're
this.
thinking too deep about it." I said, "That's the problem. You're not thinking deep enough."
If I
Right.
were a lady and if that's the way you came at me, no, thank you. I'm good.
We ain't getting no younger, so we might as well. That's just like
So we might
saying
as well
it's
do
better
this.
to marry than to burn.
It's saying what it's saying, and I think it's the
Yeah.
dumbest thing in the world to say. And I think sometimes we just think, see, we're not, like you said, we're not thinking, we're not listening to the words. That's what Tracy was saying earlier. That's what Tanya was saying earlier. We don't have the musicianship. There are people who were not singers that were still educated. You know, they weren't singers, but they still knew what sounded good. They weren't singers, they weren't musicians, but they still knew, what sounded good, what had a pulse to it, how things worked out.
Look at
But
Motown 60s, and there is your master class on
Yeah.
how to be lyrically as well as musically sound in what your presentation
But
is.
right.
today's music, I'm gonna be honest, the best music that was lyrically like genius to me was Maxwell's Embryo album. That thing is sick, bro. It had nice beats. It was like living in Sade world. And the lyrical content is like it was talking about something without talking about it.
I'm gonna tell you,
Who else
Avery.
is really good with
Go ahead.
lyrics?
Go ahead.
Bruno.
Bruno's great. All of them are great. They got phenomenal pen. But can I say this to y'all? They are very talented, gifted people. Anderson .Paak, another one, phenomenal talent, phenomenal talent. But I love their music. I love who they. I only like Anderson .Paak because he was tied to Dr. Dre, so I was like, okay, well, he cool. Kendrick Lamar, he cool. They're tied to this guy. But here's the reality: I come from the OJs. I come from the Stylistics. I come from Earth, Wind, and Fire, the Spinners, the Whispers. I come from War. I come from the Winans. I come
We come from Cool in the Gang.
Andre Crouch. We come from Cool in the Gang. We come from Steely Dan. We come from those eras. And so when I come from that,
artists, Natalie Cole and all them, like,
yeah, listen, you want to talk? Angela Bofield had my heart, and that lady's vibrato got on my nerves. But I love that lady. Phyllis Hyman was another one. They had such a raspiness.
Minnie Riperton. You got to put her in.
I mean, you can't. If you're gonna say Minnie Riperton, let's talk about the Pointer Sisters then.
Absolutely.
If you're gonna talk about the Pointer Sisters, let's talk about what is it? The Emotions. Let's talk about them.
Emotions. Yeah.
Listen, Earth One. Listen. Boogeyman probably would not have been what it is if the Emotions wasn't on it.
Right.
Let's be clear about it. Let's tell the truth. Let's tell the truth.
Really be true.
And I just found this out. Let's talk about the creativity between every vocal that you heard on Earth, Wind, and Fire's album never came from the band. It came from two people. It was Maurice and Philip. That was it.
Yep.
Those guys didn't sing. And I'm sitting here going,
can we go back? You know who else was a genius when it came to that? Being one voice that was able to sing all parts?
Ray
Charles.
Absolutely. I'm gonna take you back. I'm not gonna take you. I'm not going to take you further, but I'm going to take you here. There was a Caucasian brother. I don't know if he's still alive or not, but there was a Caucasian guy that taught us that vibrato is not necessary.
It's not.
And his name was Michael Franks.
Yes, sir.
Oh yes, he is alive very
He's well.
well, and his music is bananas.
Michael Franks never, not one, Tanya, you have to hear at least
You
one of his
gotta
songs,
hear
right?
his music.
You're not going to like it at first because he's not,
Minimalism and all that stuff.
listen, y'all.
Traditional.
He was,
sung
au-
with
he,
my
listen,
song.
listen, he was auto-tuned before auto-tune came out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. When I tell you this man never wavered from any note and he never had a vibrato at all.
Never.
Not none. Never had a vibrato. So Michael Franks is that guy. Then we come from Al Jarreau. We come from Luther Vandross. Come on, man. That's why
What
when I
about the
hear
one
these other
white
people,
guy? What about the other white guy?
Michael McDonald.
Yeah. That's him.
hey man, hey Terrence, Terrence had all the CDs. I would go to Terrence's house and take every CD I wanted, and I would go home, and I would come
That's
back.
where
and
my
bring it
CDs
home.
went.
Yeah, they was at my house.
$2,000.
Hey Scott, I
You
took
get them
so
CDs
many
for 1
CDs
cent.
from. Right, he was Columbia House. Terrence was. He was Columbia House. I would go over there and I would take, and Terrence would have all these CDs. They were spread out all around the house. They were neatly put up, but they were all around the house.
All around the
And
house.
I would go take these CDs home. And I never knew that there was so many nuances of music back in the day. I didn't listen to music like I do now. I didn't listen to it like that before. But when I listen to it now, the talent and the preparation, the time, you got to understand, these are era or days in this era where if you were going to play as a whole band, y'all didn't play things separately. Y'all had to play the same thing at one time.
If one mess up, you got to redo it.
And if one messed up, you got to start over.
In the same room.
You know, we don't have it like that now. You know, I did sessions with people who were in Japan and I would send stuff to them and it took 5 minutes for it to get there. Whereas if I wanted to go record in Japan, I better get my tail up on Japan Airlines or something and spend that 17-hour flight or whatever, you know, and you know, deal with it that way. So we come from that. So all I'm saying is that, and we gotta get off of here, y'all. All I'm saying is that when it comes to the reality of where things are, evolution, everybody does not accept evolution. Because I said this to Tanya the other day, a while ago, and I said, sometimes trying to keep up puts you in reverse.
It does. It really does.
You know, because it's like, why am I, wait a minute. I'm trying to keep up with you. And the messed up part is you trying to keep up with folk who ain't even moving. You ain't going nowhere. And I'm sitting up here trying to acquiesce to where you at. You're not even going nowhere. You know, so that's where we are with that. So, you know, food for thought, and all of those who are going to watch after this, make sure that whatever you do, you keep your own identity and you move in the direction that you're supposed to go in. Because trying to keep up with people who ain't moving puts you in park, and you don't
sell out.
So that's that. Brent, I was going to leave it up to you tonight, but I'm not.
It's a good burger.
I'm not going to leave it up to you tonight. Tonight, I'm going to leave it up to.
Who you gonna call me?
You know what, Brent? Never mind. I'll just leave it up to you, Brent. You do it better than anybody.
It's not the same without him. Yep.
Yeah. Justin, where the hell you been?
Sitting right there the whole time.
I've been here.
Coming in like a preacher. I've been here.
So James
listening to everything. Man, we lost James Earl Jones, y'all. We lost James Earl Jones. We lost.
Job well
Hey,
done.
y'all.
He was almost
y'all.
100. It was time.
You disappoint me, Simba.
Hey, real quick. Terrence, I think you knew this. Scott, I'm getting ready to tell you. Avery, you didn't know. I told Tanya, Justin, you get ready to hear this for the first time. James Earl Jones' father was James Earl Jones Sr.
Robert Earl Jones.
I mean, Robert Earl. But, I'm going to say what I said. He named this because James Earl Jones' father was named James Earl Jones. So that's why I got that twisted. he named James Earl Jones Jr. after his dad. So, so a lot of people didn't know this, but my grandmother, the late Annie Mildred Stansel, and Robert Earl Jones used to date.
Oh, well, yeah, I didn't know that.
As in, they used to. My grandmother lived on Broadway years ago in
Right
that
across
big apartment building.
right across
And
from
Robert Earl Jones would come there, and he would have bags of oranges,
And he would
and
tap
he
your
would come.
grandmother.
Oh
He
my
did.
God.
And so,
Your voice is
I just
kind of unique,
I
Kevin.
just can't get that visual in my head. I'm sorry.
you said what, Justin?
I said your voice is unique.
Yeah,
It's
well,
a boy named Simba.
That was good. That
it's,
was good, Justin. Ah, good,
it's
good, good.
You're not
that was
saying
good. That was good, Justin.
My
What happened?
son works.
He's saying your voice does sound unique, very similar to this man's
You
voice.
know what? You know what, Justin? That's that sneaky Brooklyn comedy. I didn't say nothing. I just said what I said. That's all. But yeah, they used to date, and he would come and bring my grandma. And at this time, my grandmother was still doing syringes. She was taking insulin
I bet she
and for
was.
diabetes. And so, who was that? Did Brent say that again?
I did.
Shut your ass up.
Okay. I'm
it was
gonna
that
keep thinking
So,
though.
so, so,
you know,
he told my grandmother. He said, "Listen," he said, "you're taking that insulin because your pancreas is not producing the insulin that it should." He said, "But you don't have enough vitamin C." He was telling my grandmother like all the time. He's like, "You gotta eat right. You frying fish every Friday. You eating pork chops every 2 days. You know, you doing too much to yourself." And he
every
was
other day.
really, yeah. My grandmother. I learned how to make that stuff because of her. And
What did your
he
sister
was
say
really.
about her? You remember what Sister Stephanie said one day? He said, if something happened to grandma, she fall, a fin is gonna pop out her back. Your sister said that, Kevin. Your sister said that.
But here's the reality. The reality was, we all get ready to go. We all get ready to go. The reality of it was, at the end of the day, he was trying to help her. She didn't listen. I really believe my grandmother would have still been alive had she taken some of that. But coming from Greensboro, North Carolina, and just fat back pork chop steak and okra. My grandmother ate okra. Ugh,
South, bro. It's crazy.
I couldn't deal with it. But yeah, that Robert Earl Jones, he was coming to to Jersey all the time, and they were from New York, so he would come across the bridge and he would hang out, man. So when
Shut up,
James Earl
Brent.
Jones died, they brought all of that back.
He would come across the
Yeah.
bridge and come across the bridge.
I gotta go.
You
I gotta
invited him
go,
to the
y'all.
party. Don't get mad when he starts dancing. That's all I got
Who
to say.
said that?
Well,
Who said that?
we getting ready to go, Justin.
Who said
You know how he is.
that?
All right, bro. We're gonna let you close this out. It's been 3 hours, so we started a
Nothing
little
to
late.
say.
But
Good burger.
Get your finger on that button.
No, it's gonna be real light because Kevin is grieving,
oh,
so we
He needs
definitely.
something to make him laugh. It can't be light.
I want to tell
Well,
y'all this actually lifted my spirit because I didn't do anything today. I had so much work to do. I didn't do it. The news that I got, I wasn't going to talk about it on here, but I won't be long. We got word that Frankie was in the hospital at between 5 o'clock and 5:50 yesterday, and 6 hours later he was gone. And we all still have questions, but at the end of the day, he was special to me. He was special to the world, man. And I'm still grieving. But Brent, I do need you to do that. This show has uplifted me tonight. I wasn't going to do it. I was going to tell y'all, listen, because of what's going on, I'm gonna chill out. But this put a
I'm
smile
so
on my
glad
face.
you didn't, brother. I'm so glad
Yeah,
you still kept
it
going.
it was very hard for me. I grew to have a love for this man that was outside of music, and it was outside of what we all knew him to be, the guy that closed out the Essence Festival every year, and the barbecues and the wedding receptions and the family reunions and all. I got to know him as a person. And my history, really quick, was I tried out for the band 13 years ago on drums and I didn't get it. And 13 years later, I went to Frankie when we were getting ready to do the show in New Orleans, and I said, I tried out for the band before. And he said, "You did?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "What happened?" I said, "Well, I didn't get it. Y'all gave me $5,000 and put me back on the plane. I went home." And he said, "And we didn't hire you?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, that means I wasn't ready for you yet." And I just never forgot that. I just never forgot it. So Carl Wheeler, Larry Williams, Bird, Lloyd, Vernon Ice Black, Marlon, Cecil now, Odine back a while ago. All of us, Randy, Bill, the whole crew, we having a hard time right now. But God knows what's best, and we just appreciate everybody for accepting us over the years, or to be this band for the last year and a half. To be with him, and I hate that he's gone. I absolutely hate that he's gone.
Yeah,
But he ain't suffering no more, And I'm just,
For what it's worth, you had the opportunity to be
Yeah.
with him at one of the
Yeah.
better times in life. So you
and
Absolutely.
you were his last.
one of the
Yeah.
better times of life
Yeah.
for him, and
Yeah.
he did it the way he wanted to do it. He finished the tour.
Yep.
absolutely. And he wanted to go on, but we had to use wisdom, and and who would have known that his San Jose would be his last, not just his last show,
Yeah.
but the last time we would ever see him again.
Good God.
We didn't know. So I'm telling y'all, love each other. All this hatred and BS that we do, and arguing over who's the presiding prelate, and who's in charge of what church, and who's over what ministry, and who's a minister of music. What's that boy's name that does the singing things on YouTube? Terrell, is that his name? Brent, the
Yeah.
guy that does is that his name?
Terrell Grace.
Terrell Grace. I'm gonna make y'all laugh. He said he was talking to Tori Kelly.
I'm sleeping.
You'll go in a minute. He was talking to Tori Kelly, and she said, "You know what? You were directing me like a choir director." He said, "I was." She said, "Yeah, you have that whole thing." He said, "Oh, okay. Well, most choir directors are gay." And she said, "Wait a minute, not all of them, right?" He said, yeah." He said about 99.99.99% of them. He said, "Look how we're moving. That's gay."
I know for myself, Edible shut eye.
On that note,
That should have been
Brent,
where you ended it, Kevin.
I ain't quick enough. I'm a little old now. I gotta move towards the button a little faster.
No, we
Brent,
got to give Brent his words. Give Brent his words.
please go ahead, man. We out of here. Tanya got to go to bed. We all tired. I'm
Edible
needing a
shut
drink.
eye.
Have your bed. We know all them yams need to lay down. It's okay. I like looking at them now. Don't you be fooled. This ain't a one-dimensional ministry over here, okay?
I know.
We are well-rounded, okay?
Rounded. Rounded.
My edible shut eye. Well,
I'm gonna whoop somebody's ass in a minute. I just don't know who.
No,
Not mine. Not mine.
No violence. No violence. No
It's
violence.
All
okay,
I'm doing is laughing.
it's okay.
As our pastor used to say, this is just a little humor.
Mix with the truth.
I did
Listen,
11-hour shift.
I'm a living testimony that just because you stick your pole or some tuna don't make you a fisherman.
And here is the button.
And there it is.
Justin, are we good? Are we cleared? Good night,
Yo.
y'all.